you're in the car or something, you can't participate in the YouTube, and please don't try to send us YouTube messages from your vehicle. Maybe if you're a passenger, that's a different story. But I've been telling people the last couple of days that if you have the option to do the live video stream on YouTube, it's so much fun because the live chat becomes a community all in itself, right? Now, it's great to text the show. You can use the regular text line at 844-416-8123. But I think what makes the YouTube live chat even better is you're not only interacting with me, but you're also interacting with each other, which gets to be a lot of fun. So if I'm in the middle of a segment and I'm spitting hot fire about how LeBron James may or may not be a communist, and I'm, going through a segment, I may not be watching the chat every single second, you guys can even interact with each other on the YouTube chat when I'm not interacting with you. And I do a lot of interaction during the breaks. I get on there and we cut it up. But if you can watch us live, YouTube, and search Onside Radio, and make sure you subscribe to our channel, by the way. We've only been doing this. This is our first full week live on YouTube. So we're building up the subscriber count. You guys can help us with the algorithm by subscribing to the channel. If you hit the little bell that turns the alerts on, so you can see whenever we go live, you'll get a little notification. Onside Radio is now live, because I think that the live chat on YouTube is a lot of fun. And a lot of times what you guys are chatting about on the live chat will turn into a topic on the show. That's how we got onto the topic yesterday of power ranking the best Rocky movies. It became a topic on the chat room, and we turned it into a topic on the show. And, of course, we waited to do the power ranking of Rocky movies until after Tito was off and he made way for Alex Aguirre, because Alex Aguirre loves the Rocky films. Tito's never seen any of them. He's not going to be allowed into the boom boom room with Kenneth from Cleveland until he finally sees a damn Rocky movie. So make sure you chat with us live on YouTube. And if you want to text the show the conventional way, 844-416-8123 is the number. That's 844-416-8123. And those who are watching live on YouTube, you see I'm wearing a jersey today. We're going to turn from now on. Fridays are Jersey Fridays here on Onside Radio. Because I noticed today Big O is wearing the pink Inter Miami practice jersey, which I absolutely love. Kai Chen Chisholm was wearing a Bayern jersey today. He's a huge Bayern fan. And I'm wearing the Rosa Negra, the black Inter Miami CF jersey from last year. I've got to get my hands on La Palma. I've got to get my hands on the new Inter Miami CF black jersey. But until I do, I'm going to keep rocking La Rosa Negra. And maybe I'll pick out a different jersey to wear next Friday. I've got throwback NFL jerseys. I've got some Miami Dolphin stuff. I've got a ton of soccer jerseys. Inter Miami, Inter Milan, the Azzurri. I don't have any United States national team swag. Maybe I got to get on that. Maybe I got to get on that one soon. It was a good night last night. Miami Heat win, 111-103 over the Orlando Magic. Florida Panthers win. That was a lot of fun. The comeback Cats do it again. We're going to talk with Jameson Olive from FloridaPanthers.com around 4 o'clock to help recap it. So the Panthers, guys, this is something that I love about this team, but at some point I want them to become front runners a little bit more. Right? Because it's magical to see this team every time they're down 1-0, 2-0. Last night they were down 4-1 in the third freaking period, and they still find a way to come back and they win the game in overtime. So comebacks are a lot of fun. You're playing with fire a little bit. And, I don't want to sound like I'm nitpicking a team that's 17-5-4 on the year, and they're just 1 point off first place in the Central Division. You start to get a little spoiled and a little bit nitpicky when your team is doing so well. Then you start to scrutinize, okay, things are going great. Why are they not going perfect, right? You start to raise the bar a little bit. I think I'm doing that a bit with Panthers hockey. So I don't want to sound like I'm not appreciative of the great start that they've had. I just hope we could see a stretch where instead of having to come back from down 2-0 or down 4-1 like last night, the Panthers can more consistently score the first goal, the first 2 goals, and I don't have to have my heart racing throughout the end of the hockey game. And Sergei Bobrovsky was not perfect last night, specifically on the goal that made it 4-1. He got nutmegged. It went through his legs. But, overall, Bob got it done when the Panthers needed it most because he had an awesome save late in regulation against Seth Jones to help preserve the 4-4 tie and send it to overtime. And then once you get to overtime, we can talk until we're blue in the face of the goal-scoring prowess of players like Patrick Hornquist, who's been a revelation this year, Jonathan Huberdeau, Alexander Barkov, the captain. These are some of the top. Aaron Ekblad has been fantastic scoring goals this season. We can talk until we're blue in the face about the Panthers players who routinely step up and score goals. But when it comes to clutch time, friends, when it comes to scoring a late third period game winner or an overtime winner like last night, the money in the bank always seems to come from Frank the Tank. Frank Vetrano is Mr. Clutch, right? The cardiac cats, the clutch cats, the comeback cats, whatever you want to call them. There is no quit in this team. There's a lot of character on this team because, for as much Tito as I can scrutinize and say, hey, I wish we weren't down 2-0 and 4-1 so often. I'd prefer to be up 2-3-0 and just kill games off rather than having to come from behind. I think it does say a lot for the character of this Panthers hockey team, knowing that I can sit and watch games as a fan and I never have to throw in the towel, right? Because in years past, this same Panthers team, well, not the same because they're, different players, different general manager, but this same franchise in years past, these guys are down 4-1 in the third period, and I'm scrolling through Netflix at that time. Right, I'm going through my catalog of movies. I'm seeing what else is on TV. I mean, in the case of last night, you had the Heat and the Panthers playing simultaneously, so you had options as a South Florida sports fan. But in years past, when this Panthers franchise is down 4-1 in a third period, with a few notable exceptions, like last year they had an epic comeback against the Boston Bruins, down 4-0 to come back and win the game. So I'm not saying it's never happened before. But usually when I see the Panthers trailing by 3 in the third period, I'm figuring out what else to do with my time. But I don't give up on this team because they don't give up on these games. I absolutely love it. And one of the coolest goals last night was I always love to see a player score their first NHL goal because you're watching history. You're watching a moment that person and his family are never going to forget. He's going to save the puck. He's going to turn it into a trophy, right? His parents are going to have this game DVR'd. They're going to watch the clip 100 times. Ryan Lomberg of the Panthers last night scored his first NHL goal, and it was a pretty crazy goal. He batted it out of the sky. He volleyed it as if he was a Miami Marlin laying down a bunt. It was pretty cool the way he scored that goal. And I was reading the 5 takeaways from the game piece by Jameson Olive, who's going to join us in about 48 minutes to break this one down. And he made the little crack that, hey, Ryan Lomberg might end up making the Marlins opening day roster because that dude has skills. It's not that easy to volley a puck out of midair and not have a high stick while doing it, because the thing that you always look at is, if the person volleys it out of the air, if his stick is higher than the level of the crossbar, then it's a high stick and they will overrule the goal and it will not count upon replay. That was not the case for the Lomberg goal. Perfectly legal. The goal counted, and it helped the Panthers fight back in this game. So it was really nice. And Sergei Bobrovsky last night finished with 27 saves out of 32 shots faced, and Merzlikins in the Columbus net stopped 27 out of 32 shots. So both teams took 32 shots on goal at the end of the day, and the Panthers beat the Columbus Blue Jackets again. Donno, this is Sergei Bobrovsky talking here. How come the people out there, they talk so much shit about Bob? They talk a lot of mad crap about Sergei Bobrovsky. I come from Mother Russia. I come from USSR. I wait in long food line for vodka. Difficult upbringing I have back in Mother Russia. I stand in net. I don't have such a good season last year. So the people talk a lot of shit after the last season with Bobrovsky. I step up now. I start to look more like Vezina Trophy winner last few game here. Bob, it wasn't your best performance last night. I got victory, though, Donno. I got it done. I got, it was not shutout, no, but Florida Panther, they get victory over former team Columbus Blue Jackets. No do so good. Sergei Bobrovsky, listen, it's not been, and actually, I got corrected the other day because I heaped a lot of praise on Bob on my Wednesday show, right? I heaped a lot of praise on Bobrovsky, and I referred to his struggles last year. I think I used a phrase like a little bump in the road. And a couple of Panthers fans who listened to my Panthers segment where I was defending Bobrovsky, saying that, hey, wasn't a great season last year, was how I referred to it. And I know that our guy, Kurt in South Carolina, who's one of the biggest Florida Panthers fans I know, he took issue with me sugarcoating it, okay? He took issue with me referring to it as not such a good season for Sergei Bobrovsky. It was a terrible season, he said. And listen, I try to be nice. I try to be polite. Before last season when Bobrovsky arrived in Florida as a free agent, he signed that mega deal, $70 million deal over 10 years, the $7 million a season man. And he took a major step back and did not have a good year last year. It's been a lot better, though, this year. Been a lot better. And I also really like Chris Driedger. And Chris Driedger took some game time away from Bob. I was listening to Steve Goldstein, was on with Big O yesterday on the Onside Zone, and I thought Goldie made a good point that, earlier in this season when Driedger was on a hot streak, and so, Coach Q was taking starts away from Bob, rightfully so, because he was sticking with the hot glove of Chris Driedger. Bob didn't complain, didn't bitch and moan. He dealt with it. He waited for his turn. You knew his turn was going to come because when you have condensed fixtures and back-to-backs, you're not going to keep running the same goalie into the ground when you have a condensed season and back-to-back games. So the other goalie is going to get chances to play. And when Bob got his chances to play again, played well. I think his record, I want to say, is now 9-2-2 on the year, because I think it was 8-2-2 before last night's victory. So we're talking 9-2-2 now on the season for Bob. And so he has certainly earned his starts again. So they're going to go between Bob and Driedger, but Sergei Bobrovsky is coming back to form. I described Bob the other day saying that redemption is now spelled B-O-B, based on the way Bob has been getting W's, just collecting W's. He is a W merchant, the way he's collecting these W's against his former Columbus Blue Jackets team. I will now say revenge is spelled B-O-B because he served a nice taste of it against the Columbus Blue Jackets last night. And the Panthers got a big, big win. We'll talk a little bit more about the Miami Heat on the other side, as Jimmy Butler, nothing short of magnificent yesterday. No Bam Adebayo, no problem against the Orlando Magic. And you sense a pattern that whenever Bam has to play without Jimmy, Bam's a little timid, right? But when Jimmy has to play without Bam, he turns into Schwarzenegger in the Terminator. He is a killing machine, Jimmy Butler, when he is the guy and Bam Adebayo is not in the lineup. Jimmy, 10 huge points in the fourth quarter yesterday, finished with a damn near triple-double again, 27 points, 11 assists, and 8 rebounds yesterday. So we'll talk a little bit more about the Miami Heat's dub and the milestone that they have now reached for the first time this year. And what the hell were they wearing last night? We'll have that and more coming up on the other side. And remember, later this hour, 3:45, we're going to talk to Lee Sterling from ParamountSports.com. You are listening to the only locally owned sports station in South Florida. We are OnSideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. Listen to OnSideRadio.com anywhere by downloading the MyTuner Radio app in your app store. Or go to MyTunerRadio.com on your web browser. OnSideRadio.com. South Florida sports leader.
Hello, Inter Miami CF fans. Download the Drink AR app and play inside a first-of-its-kind virtual soccer stadium, hosted by Bodega Trevento and Inter Miami CF, and celebrate your passion for soccer from the comfort of your own home. Find the download links on our Instagram account at Treventus and get our wines delivered straight to your home with a discount for all Inter Miami CF fans. Discover Trevento, a shared passion.
Let's raise a cup to the first among us who put themselves last. To the risk takers, the mask makers, the heroes on the front line and online. To the ones keeping shelves full and keeping us hopeful. To those who don't stop and those making all the stops. To the ones who pick up, suit up, and never let us down. From all of us at Dunkin' to all the heroes keeping everyone running, we thank you.
ADHD. It's the child who can't pay attention or sit still in school, right? The answer may be yes. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD, can be complicated and it can last a lifetime. Up to 75% of children and adolescents with ADHD have at least one additional mental disorder that requires a comprehensive approach to treatment. Learn more at moretoadhd.com. This message brought to you in partnership with ADA, ACO, and CHAD.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station.
With Make-A-Wish, the impossible becomes possible. A girl battling cancer can become a race car driver battling the course. The boy showing all the nurses his fire trucks can take the helm of a real one. Wishes can give kids with critical illnesses the strength to keep fighting, get better, and grow up.
Where there's a wish, there's a way.
Wishes need you. Visit Make-A-Wish at wish.org.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
I almost forgot it's a back-to-back. You know, the Heat won 111-103 against the Magic last night. They turn right back around and face the Chicago Bulls tonight. Bam Adebayo is still out, unavailable for the Heat. Jimmy keeps playing the way he played, though, last night without Bam in the lineup. 27, 11, and 8 yesterday. The Heat are going to be fine, right? You know, I know that for a couple of weeks I was ranting and raving, and I'm not saying I was wrong. I'm not going to flip-flop on this, that I was relieved that Jimmy Butler was not an all-star, because I wanted him to be able to have that long weekend to rest, because the guy needs it. He's missed a lot of games this year. I understand why he's not an all-star. I mean, 16 games missed this season. You know, I mean, I know that there are certain players who, no matter how much time they miss, just are going to get in and be all-stars by reputation alone. Do you remember late in his career when his body was completely broken and Yao Ming was always getting into all-star games because
I thought you were going to say Shaq. Shaq
as well.
Shaq was like a guaranteed all-star lock, and he was a shell of himself in those last 4 or 5 seasons.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's amazing because, like, Shaq, you're right. He was a shell of himself for about 5 full years. I mean, the guy had such an amazing run, right, with the Magic, with the Lakers. He was incredible. For about a year and a half, he was really good with the Heat, and then he fell off. I mean, how many different teams did Shaq play for after the Heat? He was in Phoenix, he was in Cleveland, he was in Boston.
Cleveland, Boston, and that was it.
That was it?
Yeah.
I thought maybe I was leaving something out because he had like a world tour at the end of his career. I'm surprised he didn't play in other countries.
It was so amazing how, like, the moment he left Miami, it just all fell apart for him.
Riley knew when it was time to get rid of him. And I think it hit a sore spot with Shaq, right? Because when Riley traded him to Phoenix, Shaq scorched the entire organization. He put a blowtorch to the Heat. He was ripping Chris Quinn. Was ripping longtime trainer Ron Culp, which was very uncalled for. Was not good to Pat. I mean, Shaquille O'Neal was so upset about getting traded. So it's the second end of a back-to-back coming up tonight for the Miami Heat. Now, I think this text sums it up perfectly. 844-416-8123 is how you get in on the text line. I fell asleep, and in my grogginess upon awakening, and without my glasses on, I saw yellow gold blurs and thought the Pacers were playing the Magic at the American Airlines Arena. Yeah, my summation of those trophy gold jerseys that the Heat busted out last night, honestly, the jerseys themselves look good. They just don't belong on the Miami Heat. That's my take. I mean, if the city of Pittsburgh had an NBA team, those are their uniforms, right? The gold and black. Yeah, black and yellow, black and yellow. Like, there's nothing wrong with the jerseys themselves, right? And I wasn't at the game in person last night. I saw a bunch of people, including Will Manso and Jeremy Taché, say that they thought the jerseys, like, in person actually looked fantastic, like really clean, really professional. The colors really pop when you see them in person. There's nothing wrong with the jerseys themselves. They do not belong on the Miami Heat. The texter was right. I'm watching that game last night on TV, Tito, and I have certain muscle memory as a lifelong NBA fan. Like, every time, in my Miami Heat, historically, they wear red, black, white. Occasionally, we bust out the pastels with these Vice jerseys. I'm kind of used to that because no one else really does it. But when I see the Heat wearing those yellow and black trophy golds, every time Jimmy Butler or Kelly Olynyk, who had a nice game last night, or Kendrick Nunn, who I thought did well, every time a Heat player hit a basket, for a couple of seconds, I just instinctively cringe because I feel like I'm watching the Indiana Pacers. Like, I have this reflex where every time the Heat scored, for like a second, I react like in disgust, and then I have to remind me, no, Donno, you're not watching the Pacers. You're watching the Miami Heat. Don't even worry about it. You're fine. Like, those jerseys just do not belong on the Miami Heat, and I don't know if this is being done. Like, just the amount of alternate jerseys we're doing now in the NBA. I don't know if the primary reason for this is because the league caters so much to the youngest possible audience. Like, I think that because, obviously, like, baseball appeals to 100-year-olds. Hockey appeals primarily to Canadians and me. I love hockey. The NFL, the NFL kind of gives something for everybody, but the NBA really caters to the youngest, hippest crowd. And, the young folks, the Gen Zs and the millennials, they love like 100 different jersey combinations. I think maybe the other thing is they're always trying to up the revenues, especially with COVID. Like, revenues have been hurt all around the sporting world. And so they're probably thinking, hey, the more jerseys we can throw out there, the more online sales we're going to do, and we're going to help make up revenue where we've lost revenue with ticket sales and all that. But it gets kind of disgusting after a while, Tito, because for me, the Vice thing, some of them were good. I thought the white, the black, even maybe the aquamarine Vices weren't that bad. And then we just start going way too far, and the vice versa is straight out of hell. Like, it is a concoction from hell after eating too much cotton candy. Like, it's a nightmare. It's like a clown exploded in your face. And then they're coming up with yellow and black jerseys. Like, why? Dude, why can't we stick to what brought us to this point? Why can't we stick to, like, the late 80s throwbacks are fantastic?
It's because they know that they can sell that. Like, there's going to be 1,000 idiots that buy that, right?
Well,
like,
and these new ones are limited edition, so
right.
it's like a collector's item.
So 1,000 idiots will buy a limited edition, urine-flavored Heat jersey. I mean, look, I get it, and the significance behind the jersey is cool.
Did you call it a urine-flavored?
Yeah, urine-flavored. Yeah, urine-flavored lollipop. No, like, they look bad, man. They look bad. Like, and the craziest thing is the black trim on them is kind of cool, right? And that's where I get what you're saying. Like, they're cool jerseys.
They don't look bad.
They're just not for the Heat.
Right.
Like, the yellow in our jersey color is not even a prime color.
No.
Is there any yellow in our black jersey?
Not that I can think of.
Right.
If anything, it's like a really tiny stripe.
Yeah. There's none in the red. There's some in the white, I think, right?
Yeah.
Barely, if any. Like, I don't understand where this is coming from.
Well, what it came from
was so much better.
Well, here's what their idea was, and this has nothing to do with the Heat's primary colors. They wanted to pattern it after the championship trophy. Like they call it the trophy gold. So they want
the Celtics have like 15 trophies. You don't see them wearing yellow. All right.
Right.
Like,
That's a great point. We got 3. Like we're lucky we have any trophies because LeBron James nearly sabotaged 4 finals. He only sabotaged 2 for us. We're lucky we have any hardware. And then they're getting the extra mileage out of this trophy gold thing. I think I just broke Tito. Tito, what's more annoying to you? When Big O starts talking crypto, or when I find unique ways to slander LeBron James every day?
I find it really funny the way you find him to just find these little slivers of opportunity to just absolutely shank LeBron in any way, shape, or form.
Even when I compliment him, I find a way to shank him.
LeBron's gonna win his 5th championship this year, and you're just gonna be like, nah, yeah. Scrub.
I don't know what I would do. I'm actually, if it comes down to the Lakers versus Brooklyn in the finals, I'm going to have to root for Brooklyn. I don't have any love for that franchise, the Brooklyn Nets. Not a fan.
I mean, but we already like them more than the Knicks, though, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
100%. Yeah.
So it's like not even a conversation.
Like, do the Nets have a lot of fans? Because I
don't know.
I guess it must just be the New Jersey people. They follow them to Brooklyn or what? Because I know like the hardcore New Yorkers live and die with the Knicks. I don't think that they're jumping off that bandwagon anytime soon. 844-416-8123 is how you text us. You can participate in the YouTube live chat as well if you want to watch and stream us live on video. Juan loves the Miami Pacers angle. I don't think he loves it. I think he finds it funny. I think is what that is. Hey, so Tito, Omar Kelly is 4:30, or sorry, so Jamison Olive is going to be 4. Omar Kelly 4:30. Lee Sterling's going to be 3:45. So the next hour is going to be lit.
If you're tuning in for the next 45 minutes, you've got so much content coming your way. I mean, this is a content machine, and not in bright yellow piss jerseys either.
Let's do our Foodie Friday topic up next. You want to rank the best movie theater snacks? We'll get to that when we come back. You're listening to Onside Radio. Hey, get the brutal honesty every day from noon to 3 p.m. with the Big O on the Onside Zone, exclusively noon to 3 p.m. right here on OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the man of the match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. Onside Radio, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. Listen to every Inter-Miami CF match on your home for La Rosa Negra, OnsideRadio.com. Catch us every day on the MyTuner Radio app. If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
Wasn't there another boy band like 98 Degrees for 99
American
degrees?
pop and R&B vocal group consisting of 4 vocalists.
It is
Jeff Timmons, brothers Nick and Drew Lachey, and Justin. Yeah, Nick Lachey, that's right.
Nick Lachey. So it was 98 Degrees, right? There you go. How about that? Did you know I was the boy band expert, by the way?
Onside Zone with the Big O from 12 noon to 3 p.m. every weekday on OnsideRadio.com.
Join the Inter-Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
Parents, we know we can't protect our kids from everything. Eventually, they're going to bump their heads or scrape their knees. But we can protect them from 6 types of cancer. HPV, or human papillomavirus, is a common preventable virus that can cause cancer later in life. The HPV vaccine prevents human papillomavirus and all the cancers it can cause. The American Cancer Society recommends getting your sons and daughters the HPV vaccine starting at age 9 to protect them later in life.
He has an overbite that makes him look like a cartoon character, a slightly crooked eye, and an uncommonly wrinkly neck. In the right light, he can look a little like a garden gnome, and he'll wear a bow tie just because. Sure, you might call him a little quirky. but that's exactly what makes him so perfect. Tuna is a 3-year-old Chihuahua Dachshund mix with more than 700,000 followers on Instagram. And it all started because he was adopted. You can't buy a best friend like Tuna, but you can adopt one. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnsideRadio.com sports update.
Miami Heat getting the victory last night over the Orlando Magic, winning 111-103. Jimmy Butler coming up big for the Heat without Bam Adebayo. He had 27 points and 11 assists. Heat get the win. They are now 19-18. They have a doubleheader. They play the Chicago Bulls tonight in Chicago. Tip-off set for 9 p.m. Florida Panthers also got the win last night in comeback fashion, might we add. Trailing 4-1, the Panthers scored 4 straight goals to win, 5-4. Frank Vetrano with the game winner. Panthers now 17-4-5 on the year. Currently tied for second place in the Central Division. They'll take on the Chicago Blackhawks Saturday at 7 p.m. And in the NFL, 2 new quarterbacks re-upping with their teams. Tom Brady signed an extension through 2022 with the Buccaneers, open up some cap space for the Bucs. And the New England Patriots re-signed Cam Newton. Newton played last season with the Patriots, coming off of his departure from the Panthers. Newton's new deal, reportedly worth $14 million. With your Onside Sports Update, I'm Tito Bonacci. Coming up next, it's more Man of the Match with Alex Donno right here, OnsideRadio.com.
You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
In about 10 minutes, we're going to get our best bets for the weekend from our good friend Lee Sterling from ParamountSports.com. And you saw it last week, Tito. You saw the picks too late to bet on them because you don't check your damn phone enough.
I woke up late that day. I did not see it.
Did you wake up at like 6 p.m.?
Yeah, I was just in a doozy last weekend. But yeah, you were texting me. Lee is on an absolute heater.
He went 5-0 with his UFC picks.
I'm locked in. Look, I as much money as I have in crypto, I'm going to put as much money as I have in that in Lee's picks this week.
Crypto, bro.
Crypto, bro.
One of my favorite sound bites.
Crypto, bro.
And there is a UFC event this weekend. Lee likes to mix it up. He likes to mix it up with a UFC fight or two. On a day like this, you may get some college basketball. He's been giving us some NHL picks, NBA. You never know what you're going to get from Sterling. He's well-rounded. He doesn't really do baseball anymore, he said, which is fine with me because the times that I've tried to bet on baseball, I have failed miserably. I don't know how Pete Rose did it. Like, I failed.
It's so bizarre.
It's so hard.
It's so hard.
It's so hard. I don't think I've won a single baseball bet in my life, so I'm fine that he stays away from that. But he goes pretty well-rounded. So last week I was inspired by Tito because Tito, when he was scavenging around this building for a snack during the onside zone last week, and I'm back over in the bullpen. Like we have our palatial studios here inside Inter Miami CF Stadium. And right next to the studio, next door, we have a green room, where someone like me, when my show's coming up, I sit there and prepare. And in the green room, they've got the mini college boy fridge, and there's a microwave. And last week, Tito, he's scavenging for a snack, and he finds a bag of popcorn in here, like unpopped Orville Redenbacher. And he goes over there, and he pops it in the microwave because he's starving. And he made the entire green room smell like a movie theater for like 3 days. Like the smell just lingered. So I kept thinking about, oh my God, I miss movie theaters. The last movie that I saw in theaters was Rise of Skywalker, the most recent Star Wars flick. I saw that like maybe early January of last year, and then I didn't go back to theaters for a while, and now no one's really been back to theaters in like a year. I think there are a few theaters open, but it's not really been a big thing. But the popcorn, it made me think, what are the best movie theater snacks? And you guys can give us your suggestions at 844-416-8123. That's the text line. Or if you're watching us on YouTube, feel free to partake in the YouTube chat. Now, I love a good movie theater snack, Tito. And when I threw this out on Twitter, a couple people pointed out, like, hey, I don't really do the movie theater snack because they're so goddamn expensive that I tend to, people were saying that they smuggle in their own snacks. We've all been there. We've all done it. There are other times, though, when I get to the theater and I haven't planned ahead and I end up waiting in line and getting some snacks, and you can't really smuggle in popcorn, right? Like, that's not really an option. Like, you can't really smuggle in
that'd just be stupid,
popcorn.
Right? That'd just be stupid because like, you're going to go to the butter machine and just pull out your pocket and just butter your pocket up.
So when I'm thinking best movie theater snacks, I tend to lean towards things that are unique to movie theaters, that I wouldn't like sit at home and eat this, right? So like a couple things that I wrote down were things like peanut M&Ms, but you know what? I eat those on other occasions, so I'm not going to consider those one of the best movie theater snacks. Same thing with nachos. Nachos for me, I associate that more with a sporting event than I do with a movie theater. I've eaten nachos in movies before, but I consider that to be more of like either a great Mexican appetizer or more of a sporting event thing than a movie theater thing. Some of the other things I considered, one thing that is kind of a guilty pleasure of mine at movie theaters, Reese's Pieces. Because I don't really think about eating those outside the theater. Like if I'm going to enjoy a Reese's on my own time, I usually get like the actual peanut butter cups. Reese's Pieces are not bad for a movie theater snack. Milk Duds have been considered. Twizzlers, I consider. I know Twizzlers are a common thing, but that's something that I only really eat in movie theaters. And then, of course, popcorn gets considered. So, Tito, I'm going to give you my top 4, and maybe you want to give me yours or pick mine apart. So this is what I'm going to consider my top 4 movie theater snacks. I'll go in order from number 4 up to number 1, okay? Number 4. I already know you're going to rip me. And, you know, the listeners are probably going to rip me as well. If you don't rate these, you probably haven't tried them. You're just blindly ripping them. Have you ever actually, Tito, sat and eaten a box of Raisinets?
No, I wouldn't, because why would I want raisins, Donno?
You'd be so surprised.
Why? They sound so bad.
You would be surprised.
No.
Chocolate.
How are we doing this?
There's something about covering raisins in chocolate that just, and I'm not even a big fruit with chocolate guy, but somehow it kind of works with raisins. I'm telling you, don't knock it until you've tried it. I remember like 4 years ago, you know what? We might have even brought Raisinets up, Tito, years ago when we used to work together on the night show. Like 4 years ago, I think I might have brought up hating on Raisinets back then, and you agreed with me. And then I had a lot of listeners who told me, like, Donno, I know you're ripping Raisinets, but you have to actually try them. And I did try them a couple years ago in the movie theater. I bought a box of Raisinets, and I was pleasantly surprised. Like, trust me, those who knock them have probably not really consumed them. They're not bad. Raisinets are actually really good. And I would say they're unique to movie theaters because there's no other context where I would eat Raisinets. So that's my number 4. My number 3. Now, this is probably a lot of people's number 1 because it is the quintessential movie snack. I'm just not a huge fan of it, so I never buy it for myself. But I've noticed that anytime, like, because my wife eats this at movie theaters, and if she buys a box of it, she'll offer me some, and then I'm like, man, I never order this for myself, but it's really not bad. Buttered popcorn, salted buttered popcorn. I'm not a huge popcorn guy, but yet popcorn's kind of addicting. Like somebody offers you some popcorn, and you get hooked.
Just murk your popcorn and butter. Just murk it. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's got to be salty. My number 2, this is going to be unpopular. Snow caps. You like a snow cap?
I do.
I respect that the snow cap has been around since the Cretaceous period. Like snow cap has got to be maybe up there with Raisinets, probably the longest tenured movie theater snack. Dude, I can remember going to the movies in 1989 at age 5, and they were selling snow caps. Like, snow caps have been, I don't know how they're still around because nobody still buys them. They're only available at movie theaters. Like, I don't even know how they keep making snow caps. Somehow they survive. Snow caps are my number 2. And then my number 1, this, you just can't knock it. Cookie dough bites. What do you think of that?
Excellent choice. They're fantastic.
Cookie dough bite. There are other things I considered. Sour Patch Kids, I don't mind them. Again, Twizzlers, but no, it's number 1, cookie dough bites. Number 2, what did I have? Snow Caps. Number 3, popcorn. And number 4, Raisinets. We're going to talk with Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports, get our bets for the weekend when we come back. Hey, Onside Radio enters Kai's Corner with Kai Chen Chisholm every day from 10 a.m. to noon. Join Kai as he discusses the biggest stories in South Florida sports. Tune in every day, 10 to noon, for Kai's Corner on the home for South Florida Sports Talk, OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. We connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnsideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk. You can connect with us at OnsideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnsideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan.
For over 20 years, Mr. Glass has been committed to the safety and satisfaction of our clients. Our products are the culmination of innovative engineering, aesthetic appeal, and the highest levels of quality. Through our legacy, Mr. Glass strives to impart the true meaning of quality, service, and sustainability to new generations. Reputation, experience, and trust is why clients choose Mr. Glass. Live the future now. Locate a dealer near you today.
At Baptist Health, we are ready
to serve, to treat,
to safely proceed with your procedure.
We're ready for ER visits and office visits with skilled surgeons,
advanced medicine,
and multidisciplinary teams.
We're ready for new arrivals
and new recoveries.
We are ready.
We're ready to diagnose, treat, and manage
anything that comes our way
with exceptional care and comfort.
With the same preparedness and compassion you've come to expect from Baptist Health.
And we are ready.
We're ready.
We're ready
to care for you.
Can I get a captain?
Captain and what?
Captain and Ginger.
I can't hear you.
Captain and Ginger.
He was a captain and Ginger. Captain and Ginger. He was a captain and Ginger.
Captain Morgan, official partner of Major League Soccer.
You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. We connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnsideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Hey, we got to roll out the red carpet for our next guest. He won me some money last week, so I used Lee Sterling's UFC 259 picks from his website, ParamountSports.com, last week. And listen, Lee Sterling is very successful, but I don't even know, Lee, what the word would be for last week. Like, I don't think there's a word in the English language to describe how you crushed it on UFC 259 last week, 5-0. Everything went perfect last week, Lee. So I was worried you wouldn't come on today because you might be shopping for your private island. So I appreciate you making time for us.
I appreciate it. We're already there, and I'm not taking any calls. So no, it turned out the way we thought it would, and really good run. I was hesitating whether I should even come back from North Carolina. I was on a 20-7 run when I was there seeing my daughter. It was, it's one of those things when you're on a run, do you mess with a run? I came home, and of course Monday and Tuesday I lose. So I brought out I went old school and brought out the Walkman and went jog into some of the, late 80s, early 90s, songs that really got me going, and pulled out some winning days the last 2 days. So hopefully it carries over. I think it's going to be a good card in UFC and some real good action. Only thing I'm upset about is my biggest play tonight. College basketball was canceled. Kansas just came up with at least one positive test. So three teams that were already knocked out of the tournament. Miami, if Miami would have somehow come back in that game yesterday, they would have been in the ACC final. So
wouldn't that have been nice? And I did win money on Miami yesterday, Lee, because I bet Miami plus 9.5. So even though they didn't win the game, they did cover. So that was nice. And I'm certainly I was pleased to see them win a couple games in the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, with 6 scholarship players, very impressive. So I don't think it's a problem with Coach Larinaga. I think it's a problem. He just, he was 3 years ago with that whole recruiting thing with Adidas, I think it was.
Yep.
That set them back. When you lose your recruiting class for 1 year, I think they only had 2 that year, but when you lose both guys, it sets you back not just 1 year, sometimes 2-3 years, and then the injuries last couple of years. So he gets a little better health from his players, and I think they're gonna be back to where we remember them from a couple years ago.
So before we get to your preferred picks for the weekend, I don't know if this is one of them, but I like to ask you about the local teams when they're in action. The Heat are on the road at Chicago, 9 o'clock tonight. The Heat did finally get over 500 last night for the first time this year. You like anything in Heat at Bulls tonight?
I would favor Miami. It's not a release for me. I just certainly can't play Chicago, even with Miami not having Bam for this game. Chicago, if you look at statistically, they're actually pretty good. They score top 10. They rebound. Problem is, in the fourth quarter, they are dreadful. 8 of the last 9 games, they've been outscored, and we're talking about, I think, 4 of them by double digits. So just in prime time, they just can't get their shots off, don't play defense. Probably coaching, big factor also. Tom Thibodeau, when he was there, always seemed to get a lot out of his team. I'm not sure this team is headed in the right direction. So a lot of people look to maybe fade Miami here without Bam and a back-to-backer. But, coming off the All-Star break where they didn't have any players playing in the All-Star game, I just think that they'll be fresh and experience, coaching, Jimmy Butler down the stretch. I think Miami's probably the right side. They should win this game by 4 to 6, 4 to 7 points.
I like it, and Miami favored by 2. So if they do that, it'll work out for everybody out there. So what are some of the other things you like this weekend? As we're talking with Lee Sterling from ParamountSports.com.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a little dab of everything here.
I love it.
Start off with the NBA tonight. So the Houston Rockets are 11-24. They're actually worse than their record. They're going to be without John Wall. P.J. Tucker's decided he doesn't want to play until his status is rectified, and he's dealt somewhere. Their leading scorer, Christian Wood, looks like will probably be out for this game. And you got to think that the Utah Jazz, sitting there stewing after what a great start in 3 of the last 4 games for the All-Star game, they just did not play well and lost. And but they're real good at home, 16-5 against the spread. Last 21 home games are 9-2-1 against the spread on Friday night. Seems to get it's a good day for them. They play well, and this Houston team playing on back-to-back nights. They lost to Sacramento, who plays no defense, and they lost by 20 points last night, and they just get blown out. The last 14 straight games they've lost. 3 of those, only 3 of them have been by less than double digits. So I think Utah, this line is tremendous, 17, but I think Utah might even double the spread here. I think this is going to be a 25 to 35 point winner here. And college basketball tonight, I like Texas. I thought that they were going to falter, and I was going to go with Kansas. For like I said, that game got canceled. But here's a game really under the radar here is Tulane. So Houston's laying 18 points. They're 21-3, ranked 7th in the country. How do they get up? They've already beaten this Tulane team by 21 and 23 points. It's going to be held at a neutral site, the Dickies Arena. I wonder sometimes how much did Dickies pay to get the sponsorship for that arena? I mean, like maybe like 5 pairs of jeans or something. So I don't think they're going to. I didn't even know Dickies jeans were even being sold anymore. So. One of these games, no one will be at the game. There'll be no atmosphere. But Tulane's actually playing pretty well. They're number 2 in the country in turnovers created. They held Tulsa at 36% shooting yesterday, won 77-70. I think 18 points is just way too much. I like Tulane to keep it close. In a hockey game tonight, I like the St. Louis Blues. So Vegas will be without their goaltender, and Fleury, one of the top goaltenders in the NHL. They've only played once, these two teams have, but in that game, Vegas won in Vegas. This St. Louis team is coming off 3 days rest, so they'll be ready. The last 2 games they lost in overtime. In fact, blew a game to San Jose, which they were leading late and lost in overtime. So I expect they won the NHL a couple years ago. I expect them to be ready for this game here, and also Vegas without one of their top defensemen. Pretty low line, minus 114 to 118 I'm seeing most places. So almost a pick 'em here. St. Louis at home over the Vegas Golden Knights, who are tough at home, but they're on the road here. So I like St. Louis. And then 2 UFC fights I'm looking at.
All right.
We're going to go with Gavin Governor Tucker. And Tucker's one of these guys, I think he's vastly underrated. So Ige has the edge here as far as got a nice wingspan. So if they just sit there and trade punches, I think Ige's probably the better guy. But I think Ige can be taken down. Tucker's better taking guys down. Also, really good submissions. So loves to do the rear naked choke. And think that the governor here takes it over. Ige's actually changed his nickname for us. It used to be Dan 50K Ige. Now he's Dynamite Ige. So
you think 50K was better because it's alluding to like the bonuses. Because when you have a fight of the night, you get a 50K bonus. Like I thought that was really clever. Dynamite is probably 1,000 dynamites out there. It's a really stupid change.
And no one who's that great. So I think Ige's just one of these guys at 14-3. He's good, but I think Governor is really underrated here. He is taking the fight on some short notice. I think it's about a week short notice, but 10 days. But I think he's got enough here to get by here. He's a guy, not too many fighters out of Canada. He's fighting out of Halifax, Nova Scotia, but I think he's a really good guy, especially on the ground. So actually, he gets a nice underdog, plus 125, plus 130 on that fight. And then a fight that a lot of people like this guy, Matthew Semi the Jedi Semmelsberger. But I'm not in love with this guy. So he is going to be fighting Jason the Vanilla Gorilla Witt. And Witt is one of these guys that really good with takedowns, and just think that Semmelsberger was called up and beat a guy that was just nothing, and think that Witt might be able to string together some victories here. So Witt's plus 100. It's an even fight. I'll take Witt here. Pull off the small upset. Semmelsberger's minus 120. For some reason, like I said, the UFC is enamored with him. He only has 9 fights. He's 7-2. Witt's much more experienced at 18-6, and I think that's going to be the difference. Semmelsberger needs to keep it. The fight, he's got to fight. Got to throw fists, and that's about the only way he can win. So we'll take Witt here, the Vanilla Gorilla.
I like it. So we have Witt over Semmelsberger and Tucker over Ige in the UFC. The National Hockey League, we like the Blues over the Golden Knights at a nice price there, about minus 115. We like Tulane to cover against Houston in college basketball. Utah over Houston in the NBA tonight, even though it's a pretty gigantic spread. And Lee is leaning to this. Was not one of your favorite picks, but you do lean to the Miami Heat over the Chicago Bulls tonight. Heat -2 this evening. So that sounds great, Mr. Sterling. And listen, I am forever in your gratitude for last week. And we're going to follow it up with another great week.
Okay, let's do it. And also text you a couple more UFC bouts I'm looking at. So let's have a great weekend. Let's keep the train rolling. Okay?
Let's keep the train rolling. Enjoy your weekend, Lee.
All right, you too. Take care.
You can check out his website is ParamountSports.com. He doesn't pay us to come on. We don't pay him to come on. He helps us make money. I think it's pretty sweet. And I felt so bad.
Just locked in all those bets already. I'm not even waiting.
You don't want to wait like
not
last
even
week.
Waiting.
I felt so bad for you last week because, like, in the morning, I texted you, hey, like these 5, you got to lock these in the UFC. And then, like, at 10:45 p.m., you were like, oh, crap, I'm just seeing this. And by that point, like, 3 of those 5 fights had already happened.
Yeah, last Saturday was a doozy for me, to put it lightly.
What a day. What a day. 844-416-8123. Hey, when we come back, we're going to talk about the comeback Cats. Our friend Jameson Olive from FloridaPanthers.com will talk about the Florida Panthers, who had a huge come-from-behind victory against the Columbus Blue Jackets last night. That's going to be really, really exciting. Hey, Miami Dolphins fans can always count on the best coverage at OnsideRadio.com because every week, keep up with your favorite team as Dolphins writer Omar Kelly joins us with exclusive reports and when news breaks. In fact, Omar's going to join us in a half hour here. Catch the EJDConstruction.com Miami Dolphins report on the home for Dolphins fans everywhere, OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You're listening to the home of Inter Miami CF.
His strike is a decent one. It's fired into the top right corner. Gonzalo Higuain opens his account for Inter Miami.
OnsideRadio.com, where the passion for La Rosa Negra runs deep. You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com, broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno.
It's all yours. Just keep it right here.
You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yes! So it is. It is the 4 o'clock hour of Man of the Match here on Onside Radio. I'm Alex Donno, taking you up until 6 o'clock tonight. That's the time we're going to hand things off to Michael Christian, who hosts Game Night 6 to 7 o'clock every weeknight. Such a great day today. It's Friday. It's a beautiful day. I'm looking at partly cloudy skies here at Fort Lauderdale. I see the Fort Lauderdale skyline kissing the horizon off in the distance. You know, we broadcast here on Onside Radio inside Inter Miami CF Stadium, so I'm looking at those pink, black, and white seats, which are just calling my name. And I'm also in a great mood because my Florida Panthers got it done again last night. And Jameson Olive from FloridaPanthers.com joins us now, and I highly recommend reading Jameson's 5 takeaways piece that he writes after every Panthers game. I don't always read them after losses because I'm bitter, but the Panthers rarely ever lose. So, I mean, after victories, there's nothing sweeter than reading Jameson's 5 takeaways. I really enjoy that. Jameson, how's your Friday treating you so far, man? How you doing?
It's good. I mean, especially after a game like last night, I feel like, you know, especially if you're like myself and you're as close to the team as I am, like you just kind of ride that high for a while. So definitely still feeling good after last night's crazy comeback right now.
And it's been a pattern, Jameson, for the Panthers. I mean, last night was a little bit extra crazy, being down 3 goals in the third period, but it's become pretty common for the Panthers to come back down a goal, down 2 goals, and win games. We've seen it a number of times this year. How do you characterize that? Is that something that Coach Q has been talking about? Because I would certainly imagine that's the sort of fighting spirit any team is going to need to make a playoff run. So what do some of the players and Coach Q say about this knack the Panthers have for coming from behind?
I actually legitimately asked Coach Q about that after the game last night. I kind of said, if you had to pinpoint it, where does the can't quit attitude kind of come from? And he basically then listed off anything you can imagine. So it really is everything. It's not just one thing. It's not one guy. It's kind of the whole dynamic of the team and how they're built this year. From the ground up with the culture change under Bill Zito, with all the new guys coming in like Patrick Hornquist, Radko Gudas, Duclair, Verhaeghe, the list goes on. It's everyone. It's all the guys buying in, both new and old. They talked about it in the past. I mean, I've been here for years now. I remember in the past, the team would always say, we want to become that team that, no matter what the score is, whether we're up 5, whether we're down 5, we know we're going to win the game. And that belief is definitely there in the room right now. And I think one of the most impressive things is we really haven't seen this Panthers team in a long time kind of play with the kind of, pad they have right now in the standings. They're off to a great start, one of the best starts in franchise history. If they would have lost that game in Columbus, it really probably would have been no skin off their back. They're down 4-1. They could have said, hey, guys, we had a pretty good trip. We won 3 out of 5. Let's pack it in. Let's go home and then kind of start over. But they didn't do that. They're treating every game this season like it's a playoff game, like it's the be-all, end-all. And they left it all out on the line there in Columbus and just came back with an incredible comeback and a huge goal by Frank Vatrano at the end. So that's the attitude this season. The Panthers are playing to get to the playoffs, but until they actually get there, all these regular season games to them are playoff games.
Yeah, and listen, it's several times in my life, if I'm watching an NHL game and it's 4-1 in the third period, oftentimes I'll kind of figure out what else is on. But I've learned not to do that with these Panthers. You mentioned Frank Vatrano. He always seems to come up in the clutch, Jameson. Of course it was him who scored the game winner.
I really wish I could explain it. I wish there was a stat to explain it. I wish there was something. But the fact of the matter is, he's got about 9 goals this season, and I'd say probably 80%, 70% of them have all come in the third period or later, including 2 game winners in overtime, like including that one we saw the other night. So that's just the clutch gene. You can't teach it. It doesn't really show up in the stats, but it's there. And it just goes to show you, as we always talk about, the depth of the Florida Panthers. When they're in overtime, it doesn't always have to be Barkov or Huberdeau or Ekblad or Hornquist or any of those guys getting the game-winning goal. Any guy on that team can step up when they need to and get that big goal. And, if you take it back, 20 minutes before that, you look at how the Panthers even got back in the game. It was a goal by, Ryan Lomberg, his first career goal come out of nowhere that really got, the team fired up and started to swing momentum. And then, it was Owen Tippett, a rookie out there, making a huge shot to get another big goal that pulled the Panthers within 1. And then, of course, Barkov took over there and got the game-tying goal with, how good their power play is. But that's just kind of how this team's built. Anyone can be a hero at any time. And right now, of course, this season, Frank Vatrano, really, really kind of doling out the heroics.
Ryan Lomberg, you mentioned, I was so happy to see him score his first NHL goal. It's always a trip to me because I know that I'm watching a moment when a player scores their first goal. I'm watching something they're never going to forget. Like they're going to save that puck and turn it into a trophy. Their families are going to watch the clip over and over and over again. And that was a pretty cool way to get your first goal, Jameson, because he batted it out of the sky. I mean, thankfully it was not a high stick. It was a good goal. But, I mean, if you're going to score your first NHL goal, you might as well earn the style points as well.
Yeah, nice reminder that Marlins season's coming up. It's almost time for baseball. So kind of, a head start there. But I think one of the coolest things about when guys like Ryan Lomberg get their first goal, I think that was his 28th or 29th game in the NHL. When Ryan Lomberg's out there in the game, it's not his job to score goals. It's a bonus. It's nice, but he's on the fourth line. He's an energy guy. He's out there, wear out the opposition. He's out there to forecheck. He's out there to force turnovers, help out his line mates. You don't grade his game good or bad by the goals he scores. So for him to just get it as such a nice bonus and just finally get it, like I said, after almost 30 games in the NHL, to get that kind of monkey off his back, it was just great to see. And this is another one of those things where, he came to the Panthers. Before this, Ryan Lomberg was kind of a journeyman. He only played 11 games with the Calgary Flames over parts of 2 seasons. Spent a lot of time in the AHL. Had a good season in the AHL last year before getting injured. But the Panthers, Bill Zito went out and said, I really like this guy. I'm going to take a flyer on him. And not only did that, they gave him a 2-year deal. They really invested in him, not based on his resume, but just what they saw in him, what they felt he could be. And it's nice to see that paying off for everyone involved right now.
Nice. We're joined here by Jameson Olive from FloridaPanthers.com. And I've really enjoyed these last couple of games watching Sergei Bobrovsky get victories over his former team. He always plays well going up against Columbus. I don't know if that's an extra motivation or what. And listen, statistically, maybe not the best game yesterday, giving up 4 goals, but he turned it on, Jamison, when it mattered most, had some big saves in the third period, including one against Seth Jones very late in the hockey game. So this is a different Bob from last year. I mean, I was talking about this the other day, Jamison, and I know that people love, getting hung up on, how Bob, before last season signed the big contract, didn't have a great year. I also think people need to give him credit for, I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, his record is 9-2-2 now to start this season. So I hope people are respecting Bob now the same way they were disrespecting him a year ago.
Yeah, he deserves it. I mean, his confidence is through the roof. He's playing, like an incredible, like the former 2-time Vezina Trophy winner he is. He's playing fantastic out there. Whether it's him, whether it's Drieger, the Panthers now getting some really solid goaltending every single night. And that's really all they can ask from either guy. But, Sergei Bobrovsky in particular, love what I've seen from him lately. And even if you go back to that game the other night in Columbus, those 4 goals, none of those goals should make you cringe and say, Bob really should have had that one. There were some tough plays there, some 2-on-1 breaks, some awkward bounces. He got put in a bad spot a couple times, but he made the huge saves when he needed to, especially late in the game, and that's all that matters when you're a goaltender tasked with getting your team some wins. Not every goaltender is going to be perfect every single night, but if you can make the big saves when you need to make them, that's the sign of a truly good goaltender. And Sergei Bobrovsky, he's that. He's a great goaltender. He has been throughout his entire career. Last year was a transition year that was tough on everyone. Clearly, he's moved past that now. He's settling into a nice rhythm. Like I said, the Panthers, between him and Drieger, they're set between the pipes right now.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So the next time we see the Panthers is going to be another go against the Chicago Blackhawks tomorrow night, 7 p.m. What's your early preview for that one, Jamison?
I honestly have no idea what to think about this game because it's really actually interesting. The Blackhawks started their season with 4 straight losses. They lost twice to Tampa and then twice to the Panthers. And I think when they were 0-4, everyone just kind of said, okay, Blackhawks obviously rebuilding. This is going to be a transition year for them. They're just going to be a bad team. But since those 4 losses, they've been great. They're in 4th place in the division right now. They've gotten excellent goaltending from Kevin Lankinen and Malcolm Subban, 2 guys that I don't think anyone pegged as top goaltenders in the league this year. Patrick Kane, he's playing like a Hart finalist, carrying that team on offense, doing a lot of the heavy lifting. Of course, you have guys like Alex DeBrincat and Kurashev chipping in there as well. But the question is, did the Blackhawks become a lot better since those 4 games? Or are they exactly the same and the Lightning and the Panthers were just that much better maybe? So I guess that's what we're going to find out. The Blackhawks and the Panthers, they'll play, I think, 4 of the next 6 or 7 games. It's head-to-head matchups with those guys. So it's been really interesting to see. I think this is definitely more of a measuring stick for the Blackhawks to see how far they've come back rather than for the Panthers to see if they're still where they're at. But it's going to be a tough game. The Panthers really can't take a lot of penalties. The Blackhawks will make you pay on the power play, like I said, with those weapons I mentioned. So for the Panthers, it's going to come down to discipline, good goaltending, and then we're at the point now where I just expect someone to step up every single night on offense. I really don't think there's going to be a ton of more nights this season where the Panthers really struggle that hard to score goals.
We're joined here by Jamison Olive from FloridaPanthers.com. Jamison, on Fridays, we have our Foodie Friday discussion, and today's discussion, it's a bit nostalgic because I've actually not been to one of these in a little over a year, a movie theater, but I'm a big movie theater snack guy, and I like to focus on the snacks that I really would only eat at a movie theater. Like, I'm not going to eat something that I would eat at home, and I think about things like cookie dough bites. Popcorn, obviously, is something I don't eat on a regular basis at home. Bunch of Crunch, Raisinets, although people hate on me for liking Raisinets, Reese's Pieces. What are your favorite movie theater snacks?
Honestly, I was thinking back, a little bit ago. I can't even remember the last movie I saw, how far it was pre-quarantine. I really can't remember. And I'm a big movie guy. I love going, especially during the off-season. I try to make it to, those discount Tuesdays as much as I can. So I can't wait to get back to the movies. And when I do, the snack I'll be eating, let's see. I love popcorn. I get popcorn every time. But, of course, in the press box at BB&T Center, I also eat a lot of popcorn. So that's not too special to the movie theater these days. But I think you already mentioned it earlier, Bunch of Crunch. I only eat Bunch of Crunch at the movie theater. I know you can get it elsewhere. I always see it at Dollar Tree when I'm there. I never pick it up, though, but I love having it at the movie theater, even though I think it is maybe one of the loudest to open snacks. So you have to open it pre the movie getting going. You can't go mid-movie because between the plastic and the box and the thing shaking in the box, it's a very loud snack to open.
Fair enough. Jameson Olive does a fantastic job, FloridaPanthers.com. Jameson, thank you so much for taking the time. Go Panthers, and enjoy your weekend.
You too, Don. Thanks. Anytime.
Always love their talking with Jameson. All right, we have a lot to come still, my friends, later on this hour. Omar Kelly from the South Florida Sun-Sentinel is going to join us for the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report later on this hour. When we come back, a lot of NFL stuff today. Tom Brady, still a Buccaneer. Cam Newton, still a Patriot. Domino effect from both of those moves when we come back. Hey, weeknights, 6 to 7 p.m., catch Game Night with Michael Christian. Listen to the show that provides the smorgasbord that gamers love and sports fans desire. From breaking sports news to the latest in gaming culture, catch Game Night with Michael Christian from 6 to 7 p.m. exclusively at OnSideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
We live in challenging times, and we understand you have questions about how you're going to take care of your family and yourself. Well, you can trust the Publix is doing everything possible to help. Our stores continue to be open. We're busy restocking as quickly as we can. But please remember to think of others as you shop for the week ahead. This will give your friends and neighbors the opportunity to get what they need as well. Our supply chains are strong. Deliveries are being made throughout the day, and our associates are here every step of the way. It's not always going to be perfect, but together we'll make it through this. So let's be safe. Let's be calm. Let's be kind. Visit Publix.com for all the latest information.
You can connect with us at OnSideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnSideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan.
Hey Panthers fans, Dave Dwork here with some awesome news. Every Saturday, I'm going to bring you the latest on everything to do with the Florida Panthers with Chirping the Cats Radio. Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., we'll dive into the state of the team, recap games, and hear from past and present Panthers players, and plenty of other great hockey guests too. Got questions about the Panthers? Call or text the show and we'll break it down. Don't miss Chirping the Cats Radio, Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., only on OnSideRadio.com.
He has an overbite that makes him look like a cartoon character, a slightly crooked eye, and an uncommonly wrinkly neck. In the right light, he can look a little like a garden gnome, and he'll wear a bow tie just because. Sure, you might call him a little quirky, but that's exactly what makes him so perfect. Tuna is a 3-year-old Chihuahua Dachshund mix with more than 700,000 followers on Instagram, and it all started because he was adopted. You can't buy a best friend like Tuna, but you can adopt one. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
ADHD. It's the child who can't pay attention or sit still in school, right? The answer may be yes. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD, can be complicated and it can last a lifetime. Living with a condition can sometimes be a challenge. It may take years to accept a formal diagnosis, and it's not always easy to find the right treatment plan. Did you know that up to 75% of children and adolescents with ADHD have at least one additional mental health condition that also requires a comprehensive approach to treatment? ADHD guidelines were recently updated to reflect the need to screen for associated disorders. Be sure to talk with your child's doctor about proper screening and visit moretoadhd.com for additional information. That's moretoadhd.com. This message has been brought to you in partnership with ADA, ACO, and CHAD.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
You know, people, especially in outside AFC East markets, you know, who had to endure punishment at the hands of Tom Brady for so many years, You won't find a whole lot of Dolphins fans or Jets fans or Bills fans who have a lot of nice things to say about Tommy Brady because he did so much damn winning and held everyone else in the division down for so many years. People look for excuses to hate the guy. If you don't respect him, though, you're not a real football fan. Like, if you don't respect what Brady has accomplished over the years, just having won his 7th Super Bowl about a month and a half ago, because you hear from people every now and then that are like, bro, Brady sucks, he's a cheater, he wouldn't have won all those Super Bowls if they were inflating the footballs properly. What happened with Deflategate? Oh, his coach was stealing signs. Spygate, the guy blows. He only won because he was cheating. Knock it off. Yeah, maybe. Maybe he did cheat a little bit. But he's still unbelievable. He's still the GOAT. He's still the greatest of all time. But no matter what you think about Brady, something that you do have to respect about Tommy Brady is he's not overly greedy. He's very rich, very wealthy. In fact, his wife is a supermodel, Gisele Bündchen. She makes a ton of dough. She's richer than he is, and he's incredibly wealthy. He's got that side hustle with the TB12, which is more like a religious cult than a lifestyle brand. I mean, the TB12 thing, it's a little bit too freaky for my blood. But over the years, there's been a pattern. He did this a couple times as a Patriot. He's doing it now as a Buccaneer, where Brady is always willing to restructure, maybe make a small financial sacrifice here and there to make sure his team has the salary cap space they need to build and maintain a juggernaut, right? Now, I'm not going to give him a Nobel Prize for restructuring because they find a way to get you paid on the back end. But there have been plenty of quarterbacks out there who do not give a damn about the cap room and only give a damn about getting their money, where Tom Brady at least is willing to work with you and be a little bit flexible. And he's done that today for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where they can now, because this team was not in a very good salary cap situation, they have some high-priced free agents that they want to keep. And Tommy Brady, by restructuring, is going to give them an opportunity to keep the band together and make another run in 2021. And I'm not sure. I haven't checked the futures over the past month, because I know immediately after the Super Bowl that the Buccaneers won, Vegas was still saying that next year the Kansas City Chiefs are the favorites. I heard someone say that the Buccaneers are actually now the betting favorites, if I'm not mistaken, to repeat next year. And I would honestly agree with that. I mean, they're keeping everyone of note. I think Gronkowski is going to stay there as well, Antonio Brown. And, Gronk is obviously not the player that he was a few years ago before his first retirement, but you see how valuable he is. I mean, Gronk may not have been the most prolific receiver on that team last year, but he stepped up and caught a couple of gigantic touchdown passes in the Super Bowl, and that's the exact value that they were looking for when they signed Gronk. And, of course, you get the veteran leadership and the clutch performances and throws and the poise from Tom Brady. I mean, there's only a few other quarterbacks at this point you would even put in that stratosphere. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes. I really like Deshaun Watson, potential future Miami Dolphin, but Tommy Brady is the guy who over a 20-year career has proven it again and again and again and again. And he signed an extension today. His extension runs through the year 2022 and reportedly includes 3 voidable years, and that's going to help the Buccaneers lower his 2021 cap hit by $19 million. So that, guys, if not for this Brady restructure, the Buccaneers would have been $5 million over the cap, and now just with this one move, they're $14 million under the cap. So that's pretty brilliant, okay? Wide receiver Chris Godwin got the franchise tag on Tuesday. Linebacker Levante David signed a 2-year extension. So that leaves now the likes of Shaq Barrett, who may leave, Rob Gronkowski, who I think is going to stay, Antonio Brown, same thing, and also Leonard Fournette still as unsigned for the next season. But hell, they all may end up staying in Tampa Bay next year. And you know what that means with Brady's extension running through the year 2022? at least 2 more years of Tom Brady. He said on multiple occasions that he can play at least through the age of 45. Now he's got the deal to back that up. 43 years old, he said he can play till at least 45 years old. We're going to see if Brady is still the same guy. What would be your most educated prediction on that? Because he's already defied Father Time. No matter who you are, eventually Father Time is going to catch up with you. I mean, I watched Bernard Hopkins fight until he was like 50. And even in his late 40s, Bernard Hopkins was still a world-class boxer. He had to change up his style, right? He got a little bit uglier, a lot more clinch work, but Hopkins, very effective until damn near 50 years old. Randy Couture in the UFC, same sort of thing. This guy was holding a title belt, I think, until the age of 47, was really, really good in his late 40s. But for both of them, Father Time catches up to you. You know, Father Time caught up to Peyton Manning a lot quicker than he caught up to Tom Brady. Yeah, I think for Peyton, you know, the brutal neck injury that he suffered in Indianapolis before going to Denver, I think that kind of accelerated his decline, that he couldn't beat it for that long. Where Brady, you know, outside of the torn ACL that he had in 2008, Brady has been, you know, virtually serious injury free throughout his NFL career. But like, do you think, Alex, that Brady for 2 more seasons, right? He's there's no question he's going to play through the 2022 season. Do you think Father Time is going to smack him in the face at some point in the next 2 years, or does he play for 2 more seasons and then when he retires in 2022, he's still the player he is today?
Excuse me. I don't think he will be the player that he is today, but I don't think he's going to deteriorate a lot. I don't think when you look like it's going to be a huge downhill slope drastically. I think he's going to slow down, obviously, because of his age and just life, but I think he'll be fine. He's the type of player, in my opinion, that would not like to go out with, you know, beaten up and torn down. You know, like when Dan Marino went out in the last game ever.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. You know,
that was bad.
I don't think Brady will let himself get to that point.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. By the way, I respect this. Tony 2 times writes in the YouTube chat, hey, make sure you're streaming us live on YouTube. You can stream the video live. Go to YouTube, search Onside Radio. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn the alerts on as well so you can see when we're live. Tony 2 times writes, I used to hate Brady. He's a Dolphin fan. Then I had a moment of clarity. It's not Brady's fault that the Dolphins were a badly run organization for close to 2 decades. Not his fault that the Bills and Jets sucked forever. That's a good point. I mean, I think a lot of the hatred towards Brady from AFC East fans has a lot to do with blaming him for your own teams not being able to get out of their own way, right? Because I know I can look at it and say, hey, for 20 years, one team did all the winning. One coach, one quarterback did all the winning in that division. So it's easy to say we just weren't good enough to get through that guy. In reality, you just weren't good enough. Right? I mean, are you going to blame Tom Brady and Bill Belichick for the Dolphins, you know, ineffectiveness for 2 decades with people like Dave Wannstedt, Rick Spielman, Jeff Ireland, Bill Parcells, who basically came here for his retirement pension? I mean, Parcells came down here to come to Century Village, a shell of himself, one of the greatest all-time head coaches / personnel guys in the history of the NFL, came down here with a ski mask and robbed the Miami Dolphins blind because he had no mental effort whatsoever into being the VP of football when Parcells came down here. I think I mentioned Jeff Ireland's name already. You know, Joe Philbin, what a waste. Adam Gase, what a waste of space. Mike Tannenbaum, like, oh, God. You think about the clown show of people, Cam Cameron. You think about the executives and the coaches, the clown show of people who have been running this Miami Dolphins organization. And I don't apply that to now, my friends. I actually really like Chris Greer, the GM, and I really like Brian Flores. So I'm not counting today. I'm not counting the last 2 years. I'm counting everything before that. you think about the clown show of people running things here in the Dolphins organization. You can't blame Tom Brady and Bill Belichick for that. You can't. Who sang that song better? Who sang the song better, Parcells or Steve Miller Band? Oh, take the money and run. I think Parcells sang that song better, if I'm being honest. You know, and hey, speaking of the Patriots, another bit of news today. Cam Newton re-signing with the New England Patriots. It's not surprising, and I think I could tell you, hey, as a Dolphin fan, I'm thankful Cam Newton is back in New England because he had a really brutal season last year. I don't think that this is a bad move for New England, though, if I'm being honest, okay? And I think there's a simple reason for this. Now, Cam Newton re-signing was not New England's plan A. New England's plan A was actually to reacquire Jimmy Garoppolo from San Francisco, but San Francisco not willing to deal him right now because they're waiting for other QB dominoes to fall into place. And so the Patriots are facing a situation right now where if they part ways with Newton, with a very important free agency period coming up here, because the league year is starting on March 17th. That's 5 days from now, next Wednesday. And the Patriots have some money to spend, okay? So when you're looking at a team that certainly, not much unlike our Miami Dolphins, need help at wide receiver, when you're recruiting free agents, what's the first question a free agent receiver is going to ask you when you're meeting with them? Who's your quarterback? Who's going to throw me the football? And if the Patriots can't answer that question because because if they've agreed to part ways with Newton or they let Newton get into unrestricted free agency, and then you're talking about, oh, well, maybe we're going to draft a quarterback or we're going to sign someone else, but we don't know who that is yet, that puts you between a rock and a hard place, guys, that if the Patriots were to have to go into free agent meetings with, you know, the Kenny Galladays and the Juju Smith-Schusters of the world, and they're wondering, like, hey, okay, proud organization, Belichick, greatest coach ever, but who's going to throw me the football next year? And if you don't have an answer for that question, you are up shit's creek, so to speak, right? And you know, good point made by Tyler Sullivan of CBS Sports. Even though Cam Newton last year looked like a diminished version of the Cam Newton of 3, 4, 5 years ago. I mean, he had an MVP season back in 2015. I mean, he's had some excellent years in the National Football League. The 2020 version of that was a piss-poor facsimile of the old Cam Newton, yet still, doesn't Cam Newton hold some cachet? That if you're pitching free agent wide receivers, Cam Newton is still a guy that has the respect of players in that league, right? And I think a lot of players, because Cam Newton's a pretty popular quarterback in NFL circles, he earned that reputation with a number of years of excellence. Even though he wasn't at his best in 2020, I think still, if you're dropping the name, yeah, we have Cam Newton on our roster, that's our quarterback right now, a lot of receivers will look at that and say, okay, if things go right and if he stays healthy, I can put up some numbers with Cam Newton throwing me the football. And, you know, in reality, all right, re-signing Cam Newton right now, it's not as if the Patriots have struck a deal for the future of their franchise, right? Newton's not going to be their starter 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road. It's not a bad bridge guy, though. Right? I mean, you kind of knew that last year that Newton was going to be a bridge. He wasn't the answer to the question. He was just somebody who got you a little bit closer to that answer. And so this kind of buys you another year. You draft, you develop somebody, and Cam can be your starter for most of, if not the entire 2021 season coming up. And so, you know, the Patriots striking this deal to keep Cam, it's not a splashy move per se. It's not the type of move that's going to strike fear into the hearts of Miami Dolphins fans, but I think it was a move made out of necessity, and it was something the Patriots really did have to do. And to be fair, for as much crap as, you know, NFL fans talked about Newton, who didn't have a good year last year, Bill Belichick really seems to like him. And Belichick really seems to think that Newton's season last year was a bit of an aberration more than anything. All right, we're going to talk Miami Dolphins, some NFL. I want to talk to him about the mock draft that he concocted. Omar Kelly from the South Florida Sun Sentinel is going to join us next for the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report. Hey, Sundays at 9 a.m., Juan Cardona dominates the airwaves with Juan on Juan. From sneakers to video games to your favorite South Florida team. Tune in every Sunday to Juan on Juan, exclusively on the home for sports talk in South Florida, OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the man of the match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You can connect with us at OnsideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnsideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan.
There are those who dedicate themselves to a sense of honor, to a life of courage, and a commitment to something greater than themselves. They have always defended this nation and each other. They still do. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Inter Miami CF, your official furniture and mattress store, is here. City Furniture is your #1 home source for the trends you want at the prices you'll love, including exclusive City Furniture collections, the widest selection of styles, affordable home accents, mattresses starting at just $99 and more. Create the home of your dreams fast with next-day delivery, plus get 60 months special financing with no down payment. Because City Furniture is here to make it easy so everyone can live life like this, visit cityfurniture.com. Hey everybody, it's Good Greek Moving and Storage, and for over 2 decades, they've been entrusted to handle all of your moving and storage needs. And now, Good Greek is the official mover of Inter Miami CF. And if Inter Miami trusts the Good Greek, you should too. For the best move ever, whether it's across town or across the country, go to GreekMoving.com. That's GreekMoving.com for Good Greek Moving and Storage, the official movers of your Inter Miami CF.
Riddle me this. With all this sizzling meat and crunchy veggies nestled between toasty flatbread, who should get credit for Papa John's new papadilla? The person who invented pizza or the person who invented folding? Well, whoever it is, a tip of the tongue hat to you, sir or madam. Get a new papadilla, 4 flavors, just $6 each. Better ingredients, better pizza, better than a sandwich. Papa John's.
My daughter Brinley is here at St. Jude. Coming here was literally life or death, and it was so scary. But St. Jude is fighting for one goal, like this one mission, life. And that gave us hope. We haven't received a single bill from St. Jude, so I really can just focus on what's best for Brinley.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnsideRadio.com sports update.
The Miami Heat kicked off the second half of their season with a win last night against the Orlando Magic, 111-103. Without Bam, Jimmy Butler led the charge for Miami with 27 points, 11 assists, and 8 rebounds. The Heat are now over the 500 mark for the first time this season and look to continue their win streak tonight against the Chicago Bulls. Tip-off is at 9 p.m. In the MLB, the Miami Marlins won today in their spring training matchup against the New York Mets 4-2. Pablo Lopez had a strong outing for the Fish, allowing only 1 run in 4 innings. The Florida Panthers are the new comeback kings of the NHL after defeating the Columbus Blue Jackets in an overtime thriller 5-4. After trailing 4-1 in the third period, the Panthers rallied back with 3 unanswered goals, and in overtime, Frank Vetrano's goal sealed the win to sweep the Blue Jackets. The Cats are back on the ice tomorrow night against the Chicago Blackhawks. Puck drops at 7 p.m. With your Onside Sports Update, I'm Alex Aguirre, and coming up next, it's more Man of the Match with Alex Donno, and Game Night with Michael Christian is right after at 6 p.m. You're listening to the only locally owned sports station in South Florida, OnsideRadio.com.
only choice for the South Florida sports fan. Brace yourself. You might not hear what you want. You can always expect Omar to keep it real, whether you like it or not. It's time for the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report with Sun Sentinel writer Omar Kelly.
One, I never have had a hot take.
EJD is your one-stop shop, custom home builder, and general contractor for residential construction. Call them 305-433-4843. Find them on Facebook at EJD Construction. Here's Omar Kelly with your Miami Dolphins report.
You know, on Fridays, we always love getting the Friday honesty from Omar Kelly from the South Florida Sun Sentinel on the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report. It's been about a week and a half since his daughter, Mila Aria Kelly, was born. And Omar, I can tell that, and obviously I remember the drill of being a new dad. And, you know, for the first, couple of months, every couple of hours, it's feeding time. You have to sleep in like an hour at a time. So I can tell you're using your extra awake time for pretty constructive stuff like mock drafts and Dolphins reporting. So for me, I was just watching like sitcoms when my kid was keeping me up. You're actually using your time for your job, which I think kudos to you for that because you're using it constructively.
You know, it's funny you say that because this time of year, what I would do is I would wake up really early in the morning, like 5 o'clock, and I'd study film of free agents and draft prospects. And I'm still doing it, not to the high level of volume that I used to be doing it because, obviously a baby requires my attention and, a wife who's recovering. I got to do a lot of things in the house. So I don't have that much free time. But yeah, I'm still doing it. I will honestly tell you, Donno, because I always give it to you raw and real. I'm not as prepared for free agency or the draft as I've been for the past decade.
But you had me fooled. I'll be honest, because you've been writing and tweeting a lot about it. You seem to have a decent handle on it.
Oh, I would have written more stories because I'm on maternity leave right now. I've only written like one story. So considering I work on a regular, I don't know. I've done a show and I've done a story. So I can't help myself from working, and I know my team needs me, and I still take calls and I still make calls, but I'm so super distracted, and I really wonder. This experience has made me think about those NFL and NBA players who have children during the season and the team gives them a day off so that, they could be with their child, or 2 days off so they can, attend the birth of their child and be with their child. I'm like, how do they take care of their healing wife if they're only off for a day?
Right.
I had never really thought about it. We sit here and we think like a day off from practice is generous. Like maybe you miss a game, like, congratulations on the baby, get back to work. I'm like, I can't even focus on my work I can't do that. Like, are you serious?
Well said. Well said. And I think that when I went through that experience, I had a greater understanding of it. And one thing, Omar, maybe, my son is 3, so maybe 4 or 5 years ago, maybe I used to be the guy who would complain if an athlete dared take like 2 days off after a birth.
Yeah.
I have not. Yeah. I have never complained about that. Since.
He missed 2 games because of the birth of his child. How dare he? Like, you're lucky he didn't miss a month.
Yeah. Well said, man. Well said. Now, you did, and you are using your time, as I said, you're maximizing it. You participated in a PFN mock draft simulator, and I think you included trades. I would base that opinion on the fact.
I've always been so against trades, but considering Brian Flores basically announced, like, as long as we're in the top 10, we're willing to trade. So. He kind of put that PSA out there, so it let me know that, hey, this is something that's a real possibility. And the climate is set for it.
Yeah, and let me give the people some of your picks here, and I'm curious what kind of reaction you're getting, because I like what you did here. So you had the Dolphins trading down to 6 and still getting Devontae Smith. getting Najee Harris at number 18. So I'm a ball watcher, so I'm frothing at the mouth already. You have me. Like you had me hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got.
I figured that would satisfy the ball watchers.
It would. You've got Baron Browning, the Ohio State linebacker, at 50. Quincy Roche.
I was really upset. I was really upset with my linebacker selection because I traded down again. As you saw, I traded down a number of times just because I believe this draft is going to be crap because you haven't been able to evaluate players. You haven't been able to get medicals of players. You haven't been able to have them in the building and see what their personality's like. You haven't been able to go into their building and see what the strength and conditioning coach or the tutor says about them. So I think that the more picks you have, the better chance you have of not screwing this up.
Right. And I mentioned as a ball watcher, you got me in the first round. As a Hurricanes fan, you got me again at 70th overall because you have Quincy Roche from Miami. You've got Chaz Surratt, the linebacker from UNC, at 81. Those are, you got two more picks, Aaron Banks and Tutu Atwell. Tutu Atwell I like as well. And Omar, Amber Alert coming in. Omar, you had said on Twitter you were inviting people to react and criticize you, but only in GIF form. What have the reactions been like? Overwhelmingly positive or negative?
What I should clarify is if you disagree, I should have let you make a comment, but I wanted it in GIF form. I think that's fun. I think that's funnier, but I do want people to give me feedback because it will make me second guess myself and it'll explain my thought process. Wow.
You still there? Oh, I think he's getting the Amber. You just got
the
Amber Alert, right?
Yes, I just got the Amber Alert.
I just got it 20 seconds before you. So, wow. Well, the Amber Alert system works.
I'm on the road, so let me know what car it is so I can keep a lookout for it. It's in Tennessee. No worries.
I was looking for it, and I don't think you're going to track that down in Tennessee.
Okay. I think that's great though. The Amber Alert situation. But we're back. I think it's important that because understand what teams are doing. Teams are having their own mock drafts, and teams are having constant dialogue with other teams to find out, hey, what are you doing with this player who's got a bloated salary? Hey, what are you doing with that offensive tackle who's been arrested 2 times, which the Dolphins traded for? What do you do? What are you doing with, hey, I'll offer you. Who is the pass rusher that the Dolphins had that from the Rams that was just average and then went to the Cowboys and had a great year?
I can't think of it now.
But teams are and that's been kind of the weird thing about this process right now. There's going to be an unprecedented amount of roster purges, roster restructions, and releases, and they haven't happened yet. And I'm sitting here waiting for them. Are we just going to have 70 releases on Monday? Is that what's going to happen?
Huh.
They're gonna mask over the horrible things that they do, because I do think it's really horrible, and it's part of the reflection of what's wrong with the NFL and why players should push for guaranteed contracts. It's really just a cultural thing. It's not a language thing in the CBA. The NBA does not have, NBA and MLB do not have in their CBA agreement writing that says that contracts have to be fully guaranteed. It's just nobody would accept anything that isn't fully guaranteed, and over years it's become part of the culture of the league. And the NFL has to get there too. And I talk to agents all the time and about this. It starts with one guy, and the first guy was Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins got a fully guaranteed contract, a quarterback who got a 3-year fully guaranteed contract. Then he flipped it and made them restructure his deal, giving him more money and taking on some fake money, but ultimately got more money, got $100 million from the Minnesota Vikings. But he was the first guy that wasn't a rookie who got a fully guaranteed contract. And since then, you've seen absolutely nobody follow suit. Why? We're talking 4 years later. Why?
I don't know.
This league just has to do better. The agents just have to do better, because situations that you see, like what's happening now with Eric Fisher, where he has a great season, gets hurt in the playoffs, and because he doesn't have guaranteed money, they just say, all right, we're done with you. All right, bye. That's cold-blooded, man.
It's rough. Yeah, no doubt about it. It really is, and it's something that like I always find it interesting when people who aren't like big sports fans, at least they don't follow contracts, will always be surprised when they're like, "Wait, so you're telling me they can just release somebody in the NFL?" Like, oh, well, they can't just do that in the NBA, Major League Baseball. And then it's a weird thing about the culture of that league. We're joined here by Omar Kelly from the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Omar, your takeaways from Brian Flores yesterday, and I know he's kind of mastered the art of not saying a whole lot. Was it a little bit odd? Like, is there any? Go ahead.
Let's address that.
Yeah,
because,
please.
Yes, I'm a professional at listening to coaches, as you know.
That is true.
Used to be there. Yeah. I don't think he says a little. I think he said plenty. He said, "We're committed to Tua." I had lunch with him. He volunteered that. Like, come on, bro.
But I don't know if I believe that, though, because the thing is, like,
he definitely had lunch with him. You have to sit down and clear the air and understand going into free agency. Don't think he talked voluntarily. By the way,
right.
That's mandated by the league.
Yes,
and he waited until the absolute last day he could possibly do it. And I get why he doesn't want to, because when you tell people what you're doing or what you're thinking, you're giving away a competitive advantage.
Yeah.
And before he even took a question, she was like, "Yo, I can't talk about people not under contract. I can't talk about – so don't ask me Deshaun Watson questions." And, I couldn't even ask a question about the offensive lineman that they traded. So you understand what I'm saying? So,
yes.
But – He gave you his nuggets that he wanted to give you. Who is our quarterback? I don't know what y'all talking about this Deshaun Watson stuff. He didn't say that. I am invested in Tua in his second year, and code of that mean Houston's still not taking offers for Deshaun Watson.
Exactly. Well, thank you. So right. So that's the translation. That maybe when they start answering calls, it's different.
Yeah, things can change, but yes, I'm. With Ryan Fitzpatrick, he was basically like, Tua's my quarterback. I love Ryan, but financially, whenever they tell you financially, it's going to guard. Like, you don't even know what Ryan Fitzpatrick's going to be signing for, but you're already claiming poor. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we know the situation. Ryan Fitzpatrick can't come back because of Tua, because Ryan Fitzpatrick has too strong of a hold on the team. He was voted the team's captain, leadership award. They don't want to have a Chad Pennington, Chad Haynes situation where, where basically during that season, anytime things would go wrong, or players like Brandon Marshall would have a question or a concern about the offense, they wouldn't go to their starting quarterback. They go to Chad Pennington. So you can't have that kind of, they'd be struggling at half. Then all of a sudden the team's looking at Flores like, "Yo, you going to put Ryan in? You going to put Ryan in?" Like, they can't have that situation. He said, what did he say? He said he'd be willing to trade. He explained the thought process with the co-offensive coordinator.
Well, did he really, though? Because he wouldn't even answer who's calling the plays. Like, is there a reason why he wouldn't answer that?
Listen, I already know who's calling the plays.
Who's calling the plays?
No, it's not O'Shea. It's what's the other dude? What's the
Studisville or Godsey?
Godsey, but it's Godsey, but it's a collaborative effort. They're going to build the script together. One of them's going to be on the field. One of them's going to be in the booth. The guy who's going to be in the booth is going to be calling plays. Like, let's not. We're trying to. One guy is specifically an expert in the run game, even though his running game has sucked the last 2 years. No shade, no shade intended. I blame that mostly on the offensive line, not the running back coach, by the way.
Well, and also the running backs themselves were not very good.
No, not really, because Kenyon Drake was pretty decent talent, as he's shown you.
That's true.
It's just,
true. I was thinking after they got rid of him. I think I was thinking about.
Yeah, I think Myles Gaskin has done a decent job. The offensive line, come on, you know they're not good. They're average. They're just average. But the one guy has to work with the quarterbacks and is a pass game coordinator. It's pass game coordinator and run game coordinator. Does it really matter who's calling plays? You know what I'm saying?
We
just want somebody to blame. We just want somebody to blame.
Now you're talking. That is true. That is very true. Hey, I wanted to ask you one more thing before we let you run. I think this is an interesting question that came up in our live YouTube chat. You know, of course, we
Okay.
all congratulated Omar on the birth of his daughter. Is there any significance to the name Mila? Is that like a family name, or you and your wife just liked it?
Well, my wife is in the car, so I like the name. She likes the name. Let's leave it at that.
Okay. I mean, fair enough. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a good reason to pick a name. I was just curious if there was like any
But
family history.
people
'Cause someone was
who
asking.
know me on Twitter know that Mila Kunis is like my one, like
now we're getting somewhere.
Like my one, like celebrity. Like I don't even think she's attractive. I just think she's charming.
Yeah.
She's cute. You know what I'm saying? It's not like super hot. And I just think the name is a phenomenal name, and I'm glad my baby has that name. I just think she's got a perfect name.
Love it. Well said. We always get the Friday honesty from Omar Kelly. It's the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report. Omar, have a wonderful weekend, sir. You doing anything crazy? Of course, baby duty continues. You have any plans for the weekend?
Oh, we just had the baby's hearing checked. We're going to go home and eat some moshi sushi, cuddle in bed, maybe watch some HGTV, and do our nightly shifts.
Fully domesticated Omar Kelly. Thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend.
All right, talk to you later, Donna.
Love it. I love how much ground we cover, and that was a cool question by Herman in the YouTube chat, who wanted to know about the significance of the name Mila. That was cool, and like I say it all the time, we've had this YouTube chat fired up. You know, we've been on YouTube starting this week, and always the discussions on the chat end up translating into the shows as well. So we have a good time there. The interaction is really, really fun. Hey, every Thursday, NBA fans can catch one of the best basketball shows in the country when Ethan Skolnick and Ira Winterman host Inside the Paint. Listen to two of the most knowledgeable and connected reporters in the business. Get year-round insight every Thursday at 10:30 a.m. with Inside the Paint on the home for hardcore basketball fans, OnSideRadio.com.
This has been the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report with Omar Kelly. From additions to home remodeling, call Eric at 305-433-4843. Count on a company that's an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. EJDconstruction.com.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
If you missed 4th and 20 with Toast and Marsh, you missed.
And the top trait they're looking for in a partner is someone that can cook better than them.
Wow.
Yeah. How are you at cooking?
I'm okay. I cook
boy.
all my stuff.
What's your best dish? If I had to say, Marsh, this you're gonna eat in tonight with a girl. All right.
Well, if
And
I'm
you need to
cooking for a
create-
girl,
Yeah, you
then
gotta
I'm
create
not
the meal.
cooking.
4th and 20 with Toast and Marsh, weekday mornings from 8 to 10.
Hey Panthers fans, Dave Dwork here with some awesome news. Every Saturday, I'm going to bring you the latest on everything to do with the Florida Panthers with Chirping the Cats Radio. Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., we'll dive into the state of the team, recap games, and hear from past and present Panthers players, and plenty of other great hockey guests too. Got questions about the Panthers? Call or text the show and we'll break it down. Don't miss Chirping the Cats Radio, Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., only on OnSideRadio.com.
You're listening to OnSideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnSideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station.
Inter Miami CF, your official furniture and mattress store, is here. City Furniture is your #1 home source for the trends you want at the prices you'll love, including exclusive City Furniture collections, the widest selection of styles, affordable home accents, mattresses starting at just $99 and more. Create the home of your dreams fast with next day delivery, plus get 60 months special financing with no down payment. Because City Furniture is here to make it easy so everyone can live life like this, visit cityfurniture.com.
You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnSideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world.
Can I get a captain?
Captain and what?
Captain and Ginger.
I can't hear you.
Captain and Ginger. He was a captain and Ginger. Captain and Ginger.
Captain Morgan, official partner of Major League Soccer.
We live in challenging times, and we understand you have questions about how you're going to take care of your family and yourself. Well, you can trust the Publix is doing everything possible to help. Our stores continue to be open. We're busy restocking as quickly as we can. But please remember to think of others as you shop for the week ahead. This will give your friends and neighbors the opportunity to get what they need as well. Our supply chains are strong, deliveries are being made throughout the day, and our associates are here every step of the way. It's not always going to be perfect, but together we'll make it through this. So let's be safe. Let's be calm. Let's be kind. Visit Publix.com for all the latest information.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
You know what's crazy? I just learned this about 20 seconds ago. So, Kenneth Cleveland, who's a chronic listener of Big O, he's become a listener now and a viewer of my show, and we appreciate him. I always thought it was Kenneth from Cleveland, but he clarified his name is Kenneth Cleveland. he's not from Cleveland. He's not in Cleveland. He's in the 305. I found that interesting because it always sounded to me like Big O was saying that, and maybe I just heard wrong. I don't want to blame O for this. I might have just heard wrong. I always thought O was saying he is in Cleveland or from Cleveland, so I assumed he was in Ohio. No, he's in 305, man. He says, my real name is Kenneth Cleveland, not Kenneth from Cleveland. I am in South Florida in the 305 Boom Boom room. He's a UM graduate. I love that. Says, and by the way, there's an old school concert tonight in the Boom Boom Room. KC and the Sunshine Band, 2 Live Crew, and Trick Daddy. Wow. That's a solid lineup. You talk about a South Florida lineup. KC and the Sunshine Band, South Florida legend. 2 Live Crew, absolute legendary. And Trick Daddy, man. Trick Daddy's Let's Go, Let's Go. So good to pump you up at University of Miami games. You're in Hard Rock Stadium, and Let's Go starts playing over the speakers. I want to go. I want to run on that field, and I want to hit somebody. Always gets me going, man. All right, we got the 5 o'clock hour coming up. Patrick Ewing disrespected at MSG. Say it isn't so. And I also want to get to a couple of excellent nuggets that came out of Manny Diaz's mouth at the University of Miami today. So Canes fans, delight. We're going to give some love to the U when we come back here. 5 o'clock hour gets underway on the only locally owned sports station in South Florida. We are OnSideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Hey everybody, it's Good Greek Moving and Storage, and for over 2 decades, they've been entrusted to handle all of your moving and storage needs. And now, Good Greek is the official mover of Inter Miami CF. And if Inter Miami trusts the Good Greek, you should too. For the best move ever, whether it's across town or across the country, go to GreekMoving.com. That's GreekMoving.com for Good Greek Moving and Storage, the official movers of your Inter Miami CF.
Miami Dolphins fans can always count on the best coverage at OnSideRadio.com. Every week, keep up with your favorite team as Dolphins writer Omar Kelly joins us with exclusive reports. And when news breaks, catch the EJDConstruction.com Miami Dolphins report on the home for Dolphins fans everywhere, OnSideRadio.com. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno.
It's all yours. Just keep it right here.
You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
5 o'clock hour of Man of the Match here on OnsideRadio.com. I am Alex Donno, broadcasting live inside Inter Miami CF Stadium. You know, an hour ago when I was talking about, the inside of this beautiful facility, a texter realized I left out one of the colors of seats. I was a little bit rushed an hour ago because we were in the process of getting Jameson Olive on the phone at that time. He joined us at 4 o'clock. Huge thanks to Jameson. 4:30, we had Omar Kelly. Back in the 3 o'clock hour, we had our guy Lee Sterling giving us some of his top picks for the weekend. You want to make sure, by the way, you lock some of those in because a few of those picks are for tonight. He loves Utah over the Houston Rockets, despite the fact it's a gigantic spread. I locked it in at Utah minus 18.5. I don't know if I've ever bet a spread that big in the NBA, but Lee is very confident that Utah is going to lay the hammer down on the Houston Rockets, who are pretty decimated. No John Wall tonight. He likes another Houston team to lose tonight. He likes, or at least not to cover, I should say, because Tulane is a big underdog in college basketball against Houston. He likes Tulane to cover. Houston might still win, but he likes Tulane there against the spread. And he likes the Blues minus 115 against the Vegas Golden Knights tonight in the NHL. And he also, I don't think this is one of his preferred picks, but I like to ask him about the local teams. He does lean to the Miami Heat minus 2 against the Chicago Bulls tonight. So 4 of those picks or for this evening. So we're going to have a lot of action tonight, my friends. At 5:20, we're going to talk with our pal Frank Crivello from the Serie A sit-down. Have to ask him a question that I know we've talked about it already a little bit this week. I'm not going to make a lot of friends for having this discussion because this is one of the most beloved athletes on the planet, and he has a lot of zombie fanboys who will defend him until the death. I'm talking about Cristiano Ronaldo. And maybe it's not his fault. Now, I maintain he's a selfish player who cares more about his own stats than about his team's success, and I will die on that hill. He's an incredible player, one of the best ever, one of the most talented ever. He's got the ability to levitate in the sky when he's rising up for headers, Cristiano. He is a specimen. There is no doubt about that. But there's also no doubt in my mind that in the 3 years he has played for Juventus, and the reason why I say this may not be his fault, right? Because it's more about the investment financially that they made in him and how much money they're paying him. These are funds they can't spend elsewhere because he's so goddamn expensive. 60 million euros gross per season, the wages. And don't forget, the euro is worth more than the dollar. So you're talking about like $77 million per season this guy is getting paid. And they've been just financially strapped to address other areas. You know, Juventus signed Cristiano Ronaldo 3 years ago because they believed that was the player that could get them to Champions League glory. They didn't need him to win the Italian league. They'd already done that 7 consecutive times before they signed Ronaldo. They needed Ronaldo, they thought, to get better in Champions League. And since Ronaldo has been at Juventus, they've only gotten worse in Champions League. They went out 2 years ago in the quarterfinals against Ajax. They went out last year in the round of 16 to Lyon, who has no business knocking out Juventus in Champions League. And then once again, they go out this year in the round of 16 to a team that has no business knocking out Juventus in Champions League, and that was Porto. So the results in Europe have only gotten worse since Cristiano Ronaldo came on. And we have to talk about that unfortunate. Well, it's fortunate for me because I'm a Juventus hater, but for the Ronaldo fanboys and the Juventus supporters, that unfortunate reality is something that we have to talk about with Frank Crivello from the Serie A sit-down when he joins us. So here we go. Josina Anderson tweeted out today. And when I say here we go, I really mean nothing's changed, right? But a lot of people were speculating after Houston Texans head coach David Culley had a really awkward news conference yesterday. Houston Texans ownership threw him out there as a sacrificial lamb. Cully, deal with it. They knew he's going to get questions about Deshaun Watson's future. They knew there's nothing really David Culley could say. And David Culley, by the way, is not part of that problem because the problems between Deshaun Watson and the Houston Texans long predate Culley's arrival. He has nothing to do with the rift between Watson and the Texans, and yet Culley had to go out there and answer question after question about whether Deshaun Watson's going to be traded. And, they caught him in a little bit of a slip-up because he said he made a comment that said right now when talking about Deshaun Watson's status. And so you give the media a bone like right now, and that's going to lead to speculation of, you see? Right now, he's committed to the Texans. Right now, he's the Texans quarterback. That may not be the case a little bit later. Josina Anderson tweeted, I'm told the Texans still haven't had any discussions internally or externally entertaining any deal to trade quarterback Deshaun Watson, despite head coach David Culley's right now comment about Watson's status, which Culley worked to clarify later today. Per source, we'll continue to monitor. Now, my best guess is my common sense would tell me that this is a bluff by the Texans. Because still, I look at the date today, it's March 12th. The NFL draft is in late April. I don't believe they're truly under pressure to get a deal done and send him away until right before, if not the day of, the first round of the NFL draft, because that could come down to the wire to get the best possible offer. I know people are alarmed by this idea that, they're not answering the phone, they're not entertaining trade talks, this means they're holding on to him. Not necessarily, right? Because for right now, they could be playing a leverage game. For right now, the Houston Texans may be saying, the longer we wait to answer the phone, the more desperate potential suitors are going to get. That may be the line of thinking. I'm about 85% confident in that logic, that this is a negotiating ploy. I'm 85% locked in on that. The reason why I'm not 100% locked in on that is what we know about the Houston Texans is their front office is rotten to the core. And I'm not talking about Nick Caserio, who just got there. I'm not talking about their head coach, Culley, who's probably a great person and all that. I'm talking about Cal McNair, the owner. I'm talking about Rasputin, a.k.a. Jack Easterby, their head of football operations. Somehow this guy worked his way up from team chaplain to being the head of the operation, which really doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It's like a snake charmer, this guy, and everybody in that organization hates Jack Easterby. Those are the people with the issue here. And the reason why, now, I think it would be smart if this was a negotiation ploy. Don't answer the phones until you really have to, because you're only going to drive up demand. If there's no supply, you're only going to drive up demand. But still, I'm not 100% confident that's what we're doing, because we know the people who are running that organization are inept, right? And we know they're prideful, maybe prideful to the point of stupid. So it would not shock me if Cal McNair and Easterby end up literally refusing to trade Deshaun Watson. And then what's going to happen? If they hold on to Deshaun as a hostage and he refuses to play because he wants to hold out, he refuses to play there because he doesn't want to be part of that organization, they call his bluff. He sits out an entire year. A team that struggled to win 4 games with one of the best quarterbacks in football, without him and without any compensation in exchange for him, you're lucky to win 2 games next year if you don't have Deshaun and you don't have anything in return for him. And if you go 1-15, 2-14 next year, and it's because of the pride of Cal McNair and Jack Easterby, do you think they're going to blame themselves for that sort of a season? No. They're going to end up using the head coach and maybe the GM as the scapegoat for their own stupidity. So I would hope and pray, and maybe they would have 1 year on scholarship. But if this bleeds into a second year, the people who are going to end up blamed for the Houston Texans being awful, which would be the owner's fault, David Culley and maybe Nick Caserio are going to be the scapegoats for that. So that's what happens when you have a toxic, terribly run organization. At the end of the day, McNair is not going to fire himself. He's not going to sell the team to punish himself. the guy who's going to get blamed for it if they go 1-15, 2-14 next year, the guy who's going to get blamed for that is David Culley when he's really a pawn and little else in this entire situation. So, yeah, I hope they come to their senses because it seems to me like the best outcome for any of those parties involved would be a divorce, okay? 844-416-8123 is how you text us. That's 844-416-8123. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Go to YouTube and search Onside Radio. The live chat on YouTube is a lot of fun. As a Miami Hurricanes fan, I was excited for this. Manny Diaz addressed the media today ahead of spring practice, which is starting tomorrow. Spring football, March 13th, Green Tree. It's going to be lit starting tomorrow. Couple of great nuggets from Manny Diaz today. De'Aaron King is smashing every benchmark in his rehab, Diaz said. Remember, De'Aaron King tore his right ACL, and Diaz says he is, let me get a couple quotes here, he's smashing every benchmark and every goal they put in front of him to the point we almost have to slow him down. The other day, I'm in the weight room, and he's on an exercise bike, and there's almost steam coming off the wheels because he's riding the thing so hard. We're still only 2 months and change from the surgery, so it's that point where you start to feel good, and you have to slow down. You have to be more careful now than you were the first 8 weeks, he said. All signs are pointing to, and we know even if there's a miracle, we know De'Aaron King is not going to be practicing in the spring. He's not at that point yet, which we expected. There's nothing unusual about that. I'm actually kind of excited now. Obviously, I'd prefer if King was healthy and could go through spring practice because everyone benefits from that. But the silver lining of King's absence in the spring is you're going to have a fun battle for the backup quarterback spot. You've got Jake Garcia there, who I think has the highest upside of the bunch. Tyler Van Dyke, who's been in the program for a year. Peyton Matocha, who is a former 3-star. He's going to be, I think, a third-year sophomore. Now, no one really gives this kid a shot to beat out Garcia or Van Dyke because the other two are so much more highly touted. But people who watched him play in high school, like my friend Larry Bluestein, actually sings a lot of praises of Matocha. So, you know, I count him out probably 95%. Maybe don't count him out 100%. So you're gonna get a fun battle for backup quarterback. And with these guys taking more of the starting reps because De'Aaron King's not going to be there in the spring, I'm hoping that leads to whoever kind of emerges from the pack, to be even more confident heading into fall camp coming up. But the other piece of really good news that Diaz dropped today is, I was so relieved to hear this, Al Blades Jr. is cleared to resume football activity. You remember Al Blades Jr., due to COVID-19, suffered from myocarditis, which is that condition that has been linked to, like, certain, not everybody, but some of the people who get COVID-19 will then, as one of the side effects potentially, again, not for everybody, probably for a very small percent, is like an enlarged heart, this condition called myocarditis. And, you know, those who are diagnosed with that are, you know, strictly forbidden from rigorous physical activity like playing college football because it could put your life at risk. So they monitor it. And Al Blades, he has recovered from myocarditis, which is huge because it was a little bit scary. Like when we found out that he had it back in December, he has now been cleared to resume football activity. So that is awesome. And I talked about this a little bit today on Twitter, and you can follow me on Twitter at Alex Donno. I said something to this effect a week or two ago, and I want to double down on it, all right? There's going to be a lot of newspaper columnists, bloggers, some radio hosts who are going to try and get a lot of mileage out of their material before the next Hurricanes football season, which is still almost 6 months away. I mean, it's mid-March. It's going to be September 4th when they play their opening game against Bama, so about 5.5 months away from college football. I am making a rule on this show. I do not want to hear any Manny Diaz slander for the rest of the offseason. Now, when the season's in progress, if the team is struggling and things go sour, we reevaluate the policy at that time. But the offseason policy from now until at least September 4th is we do not slander Manny Diaz on this program. Let's forget right now about North Carolina. Let's forget right now about FIU 2 years ago. And I'm not saying you wipe it from the memory banks completely, but what I am saying is for the second straight year, when you have problems, when you have issues, when you have poisonous things on the football team, I see Manny Diaz. Is he perfect? No. But I see Manny Diaz busting his ass, making some tough decisions, but doing whatever he can to fix the issues. Right? Now, somebody on Twitter, a smart ass, it was kind of funny, said, well, Donno, I mean, until Manny Diaz resigns, is he really fixing the issue? I mean, come on, let's be realistic here. Right? He's not going to say, hey, I've identified the problem and it's me. I'm going to get the hell out of here. Well, no, I don't expect that. But, you know, when it comes to realizing there's a problem with our defense, he ends up putting himself back in play calling duties. Problems with certain areas of the roster. We need more experience and depth at wide receiver. I'm going to go get Charleston Rambo in the transfer portal. Fantastic player. I want to make my quarterback room better and deeper. We're going to recruit the hell out of an elite stud like Jake Garcia. We're going to steal him from USC after he decommits. They end up just a couple days ago, they get another transfer guy. I mean, technically a transfer, even though he's going to be a true freshman, but Cody Brown, the running back, a 4-star, who had been committed to Tennessee. Then they fired their coach. He decommits and then winds up at Miami. They let him out of his national letter of intent. He winds up at the U. You know, they get DeAndre Johnson, the defensive end from Tennessee, which is really important to address that. So Diaz got a great recruiting class. Yeah, I think he's pushed some of the right buttons on the defensive side of the football to hopefully make things better, which included a tough situation where, you know, he had an assistant coach leave 2 weeks after he took a job here. So, listen, I see Manny Diaz pushing what I believe are the right buttons, addressing everything that needs to be addressed, and he's not going to lose a single game between now and September 4th, so I don't see the need to rip him. We can reevaluate when the season starts, but between now and September 4th, I will not allow any Manny Diaz slander on this show because he's having another good offseason. If you want to slander him, if the team goes off to like a 2-3 start next year, okay, we can reevaluate when it's appropriate. For right now, no Diaz slander. All right, when we come back, we're going to bring in Frank Crivello from the Serie A sit-down. Keep it locked right here to your home for Inter Miami CF fans all over the world, OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
We live in challenging times, and we understand you have questions about how you're going to take care of your family and yourself. Well, you can trust the Publix is doing everything possible to help. Our stores continue to be open. We're busy restocking as quickly as we can. But please remember to think of others as you shop for the week ahead. This will give your friends and neighbors the opportunity to get what they need as well. Our supply chains are strong, deliveries are being made throughout the day, and our associates are here every step of the way. It's not always going to be perfect, but together we'll make it through this. So let's be safe. Let's be calm. Let's be kind. Visit Publix.com for all the latest information.
Inter Miami CF, your official furniture and mattress store, is here. City Furniture is your #1 home source for the trends you want at the prices you'll love, including exclusive City Furniture collections, the widest selection of styles, affordable home accents, mattresses starting at just $99 and more. Create the home of your dreams fast with next-day delivery, plus get 60 months special financing with no down payment. Because City Furniture is here to make it easy so everyone can live life like this, visit cityfurniture.com.
I'm Ryan Seacrest. First responders are people who stand for a greater purpose. They will be there for you when nobody else is, to help you, your family, your community. This is their selfless promise. This is their sworn duty, to protect, to serve, to help. They put themselves in harm's way for us. They come to the rescue at times when we need them most. First responders are making enormous personal sacrifices to keep showing up for us and fighting the good fight. Nearly 70% of all firefighters are volunteers. That means when they get injured or quarantined, they may not have a way to pay their rent or keep their family safe and fed. No matter who you are or where you live, when you call 911 and ask for help, first responders show up. Now, let's show up for the people who show up for us every day and every night.
Go to firstrcf.org and make a difference today.
You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnSideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world. You're listening to OnSideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnSideRadio.com. South Florida's true hometown station. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. Check this out. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, you know, we love bringing in our good friend who talks Serie A football and always weighs in, by the way, so well on our Foodie Friday conversations as well. He does a great job co-hosting the Serie A sit-down show, which streams live on Tuesday evenings, and then, of course, podcasts for your replay pleasure. He and his co-host, Richard Carmen, do a great job. Frank Crivello joins us here now on Onside Radio. And Frank, I love when you weigh in on the Foodie Friday. This one's actually a bit nostalgic because I've not been to a movie theater in about 14 months with the pandemic and everything going on. I think the last movie that I saw in theaters was kind of a stink bomb, but it was The Last Jedi, the Star Wars movie, about 14 months ago. But I love me some movie theater snacks. Do you have anything you'd like to offer as the best options for movie theater snack? What are some of your favorites?
Wow, it's been 14 years since I've probably been in a movie theater.
No way!
So,
man, see, you're not a big movie guy, regardless.
I used to be. It just had so much going on that it just not something that I sought out. There was never really a movie that was out that I had to go see in a theater. It was just kind of like I was perfectly fine with waiting until I got home. But back when I did go, I was a popcorn guy. I'm kind of boring like that. I didn't like a lot of butter on it though. I think one time we were sharing a bucket of popcorn with some friends, and somebody just doused it in butter, and I think it made me sick. So I'm a little light on the butter. I mean, the candy stuff scares the daylights out of me. I think I did that once when I was a little kid. That Spree. The candy at the movie theaters always seems like it's bigger than like if you get it at a grocery store, and the Sprees look like urinal cakes, and it's just like it doesn't even look. They don't even look appetizing, and it's just not something I could get with. Yeah, I was boring. I was always pretty much a popcorn guy.
Listen, popcorn is a staple. It made my list, no question about it. And also part of my criteria was I really look to things that are kind of unique to the movie theater experience. Because like popcorn, I don't really sit around at home and eat popcorn very often. I associate that more with movie theaters. I mentioned that Frank's show, the Serie A sit down, is very enjoyable, and something you were talking about that I found to be very interesting. Of course, we all know that you are a very devout AC Milan supporter. I didn't realize until you said it during your show that your 9-year-old son is a big Juventus supporter, and I'm certainly not going to criticize that or anything, because it would not surprise me if my son, who's now 3, ends up, rooting for teams that I'm not necessarily a fan of. I know that sort of thing can happen, but does it ever get like awkward on Serie A match days, especially if Milan and Juventus go head to head? Does it ever get weird in the Crivello household when you're rooting for Milan and the kid's rooting for Juve?
No, I'm just happy he watches. I'm just happy he takes an interest. When he is in the room watching a game with me, I will keep things to myself, or keep observations to myself. And by keeping them to myself, I share them on Twitter. because he doesn't have a Twitter account.
Smart.
That's about the extent of it. I'm just happy that he takes an interest in it and that he watches it and that he enjoys it and recognizes the players.
And on the topic of Juventus, who they go out of the Champions League against Porto, there's a bigger conversation that's being had a lot, and that was just the investment that they made 3 summers ago in Cristiano Ronaldo. And there are going to be people who argue in the favor of that move who will point out, hey, look at how many jerseys they've sold. Look how the team is, it's gotten more in the global conversation because they have an icon like Cristiano on the squad. But when I look at it from the soccer project standpoint, Frank, Juventus was having no trouble winning the league in Italy before they brought in Cristiano. They had won 7 straight domestic titles. They brought him in to win Champions League, and yet bringing him there, the results in Champions League in the past 3 years have only gotten worse, right? I mean, they had a quarterfinal exit against Ajax, a round of 16 exit against Lyon last year, now a round of 16 exit against Porto, teams that really shouldn't be eliminating Juventus from Champions League. I'm not saying that this is all Cristiano Ronaldo's fault. It's more of the circumstance with his immense wages, money that's not being spent to address other areas. And so is it fair to call the Cristiano Ronaldo project at Juventus a failure?
In my opinion, it's a failure, point blank. Because when Juventus made the move, to bring him to Turin, that was the agenda, Champions League. For those that are saying it was a success because of I've seen the Juventini out there that tweet it, and they talk about, the exposure to Juventus, the shirt sales, the ticket sales, the kid sales and all that other stuff. I said, you're reaching for low-hanging fruit.
Yep.
You got that the second he put pen to paper, all right? That was the easy objective. Or the obvious objective, if you want to put it that way, to underperform as badly as Juventus has. And Ajax, Lyon, and Porto are teams of European pedigree. Ajax, but the Ajax that they went out to in the last 8 was a good team, but it wasn't Louis van Gaal's Ajax in the mid-'90s that just destroyed everybody.
Yep.
This Porto team came in with a game plan and came in with a belief and stuck with it and showed Juve the door. There isn't anything overly glamorous about what Porto did. They put in a game plan, they believed in it, and they beat Juve. Lyon, same thing. There wasn't anything overly exciting about what they did. And if you can't beat them, if you can't beat those teams, how are you supposed to win a Champions League? How are you supposed to have these dreams of this European Super League and trying to get away from any Serie A responsibilities when you can't even beat teams that are coming from leagues that are, they're obviously not elite. They're probably in the tier below what you have with England, Spain, Germany, and Italy.
And so your best guess, because now there is still one more year on the Ronaldo contract at Juventus, but do you think that they'll move on from him this summer, or do you think he fulfills the contract?
If I'm in that back room, I'm advocating for saying to everybody else, hey, we tried.
Yeah.
It's been great. But this money can get us 2 or 3 players that can take us farther into the Champions League just because we'll have the depth. Let's not forget, Juventus reached 2 Champions League finals before they signed Ronaldo.
That's true.
Under Allegri back in 2015 and back in 2017. They ran into juggernauts. The Barcelona team with Messi, Suarez, and Neymar, and then Cristiano's Real Madrid with that world-class midfield. So that's another element to add to this. You've taken a club that has been able to get to Champions League finals. You have this obsession with winning a Champions League, but you can't get beyond the last 16 or the last 8. That's a problem. All of the money that's being invested in Cristiano, I'd look to try to find 2, maybe 3 players just strengthen that squad.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I want to move on and give some credit to the club you support. Europa League yesterday, I thought AC Milan played very, very well against Manchester United. He had a couple of disallowed goals, scoring chances. Finally, the game-tying goal came, I think, in the 92nd minute after Manchester United had the 1-0 lead throughout most of it. So just how big is that result, Frank? And there certainly has to be a belief now with the second leg coming up next week that Milan can advance and eliminate United.
As a Milan, it was just great, even if it is the Europa League. It was great to watch a European tie, rather deep in the competition, Milan involved in it. And because it reminded me, some of the excitement I had when Milan was a fixture in European competitions in the 2000s, especially in the Champions League. There wasn't a lot expected of this Milan at Old Trafford because of all of the injuries and because of all of the, the issues, regarding that. But, when it's just crazy with Milan, when you think the worst of them, somehow Pioli has rallied these guys together to carve out a result. This was a committed team performance by Milan at Manchester United. I'll even argue they were the better team on the night.
I agree.
The goal they conceded, the Amad Diallo goal, was just a huge lapse in concentration, and really the only one from Milan's on the night. I would say the Maguire chance in the first half would be another one, leading them on the back post. So they got a little lucky in that regard. But, they pressed United into problems. They won the ball back. They were just, a lot of incidents where they were winning the ball back in United's half of the pitch and just were one ball away every time. And they could have very easily, if they had some of the quality that they're normally accustomed to having, a Zlatan, a Rebic, a guy, guys like that, you're probably talking about Milan bagging a couple of away goals at Old Trafford. But nonetheless, a depleted team that went out there, played a team game, put in a spirited team performance, you couldn't help but be proud to be a Milan fan to watch that over the course of 90 minutes. It was, it was a gutsy performance, and it's put Milan in great position for the second leg at the San Siro. They should be favorites to go through. Yeah. It's a matter of who and what they can recover for the second leg.
And okay, so I don't know, without having the full bracket of Europa in front of me, if you can get through this round, you start to maybe wonder, can we win this competition? And listen, I'm not saying Milan are out of it for the Scudetto. As an Inter supporter, I'd like to say that, but I'm not completely ruling them out by any means. But Europa League gives them another shot at a trophy. So how big would that possibility be to you?
If we get into the last eight, I went on a Manchester United podcast earlier in the week, and I said I think at the last 16 we're sitting here, kind of in limbo. Like, should we really be pressing for this competition, or do we stick with the objective of top four? As Milan fans, do we still rally around that? But if you get to the last eight of a competition, especially a European competition, whether it's Champions League or Europa League, you should be in it to win it.
Right.
Now the issue is that it's going to be extremely difficult, going forward, should they go through, because you have some teams that are running into this Tottenham Hotspur is all of a sudden getting into really good form.
Yeah.
Down the stretch under Jose Mourinho, and they had a pretty comfortable win. Ajax is pesky. And they've got a pretty easy, Young Boys is not giving them the kind of competition that you think they'd have. Granada.
Yeah, I won some money on Ajax over Young Boys yesterday, I should mention. So I'm with you on that one.
Nice. Granada's a tough out. Villarreal is also. The two Spanish teams are going to be tough outs as well. And then Arsenal. At this point, Arsenal should, with where they're at in the table in the Premier League, I think all of their chips should be in the Europa basket. So it'll be a huge challenge to try to overcome and win the Europa League, but they would have just as much quality as anybody left to do it.
Well, we appreciate your time, as always. Frank Crivello, you can hear him and watch him on the Serie A Sit Down show. They stream live on Tuesday evenings, Follow him on Twitter at FTC_21. Frank, thank you so much, and enjoy your weekend.
Yep, you too, Alex. Thanks again.
Always good stuff there from Frank Crivello. Hey, remember, we take you up until 6 o'clock when Michael Christian is going to take over with Game Night. So I love that. That was good stuff. So remember, Tommy Brady signed an extension today. Cam Newton remaining with the Patriots. Something I want to get to on the other side. Little disrespect for the Dolphins here. Jason Lonconfora from CBS Sports listed 13 perfect free agency matches. What did he have to say about the Miami Dolphins? We'll get to that and more when we come back. Hey, Sunday's Onside Radio continues to provide you the kind of sports talk South Florida fans desire. Every Sunday at 7 a.m., tune into the Sunday Sports Drop with Jazz Santana. Catch Jazz every week as he takes your calls and discusses the biggest stories in sports. That's the Sunday Sports Drop, 7 to 9 a.m., exclusively at OnsideRadio.com.
The man of the match with South Florida's own Alex Donno. Weekdays 1 to 5 p.m. on the home for Inter Miami football. OnsideRadio.com.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Get the brutal honesty every day with the Onside Zone with a big O from 12 noon to 3 p.m. every weekday on your home for sports talk in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com. You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. We connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnsideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can STEM, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can STEM, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnsideRadio.com sports update.
The Florida Panthers just continue to find different ways to win after defeating the Columbus Blue Jackets in an overtime thriller 5-4. After trailing 4-1 in the third period, the Panthers rallied back with 3 unanswered goals, and in overtime, Frank Vetrano's goal sealed the win to sweep the Blue Jackets. The Cats are back on the ice tomorrow night against the Chicago Blackhawks. Puck drops at 7 p.m. Moving on to the MLB, the Miami Marlins won today in their spring training matchup against the New York Mets 4-2. Starting pitcher Pablo Lopez had a strong outing for the Fish, allowing only 1 run in 4 innings. The Miami Heat kicked off their second half of their season with a win last night against the Orlando Magic 111-103. Without Bam, Jimmy Butler led the charge for Miami with 27 points, 11 assists, and 8 rebounds. The Heat are now over the 500 mark for the first time this season and look to continue their win streak tonight against the Chicago Bulls. Tip-off is at 9 p.m. And in the NFL, Cam Newton will be staying in New England after both sides agreed to a one-year contract for next season up to $14 million. With your Onside Sports update, I'm Alex Aguirre, and coming up next, it's more of Man of the Match with Alex Donno, and Game Night with Michael Christian is right after at 6 p.m. You're listening to the only locally owned sports station in South Florida, OnsideRadio.com.
You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
You know, people complain about not getting any respect at Madison Square Garden. You remember the Charles Oakley situation? James Dolan is not very well liked, okay? And another recent complaint has come from New York Knicks legend, you know, the man who was only drafted by New York because they rigged the lottery with that frozen envelope. But Patrick Ewing says he's not getting respect at the Garden. Here's Knicks legend Patrick Ewing talking about getting accosted by security at the Garden.
But I do want to say one thing, though. I thought this was my building, and I feel terrible that I'm getting stopped, accosted, asking for passes. Everybody in this building should know who the hell I am. And I'm getting stopped. I can't move around this building. Like I was like, what the hell? Is this Madison Square Garden? I'm going to have to call Mr. Dolan and say, geez, is my number in the rafters or what? But I do want to say one thing.
Hey, Pat, don't you know there's an unwritten rule, man? Only champions can walk around their former arena without being asked to see their pass. What did you win at New York exactly? Diddly jack squat is what you won at New York. But now, in all seriousness, right? I mean, okay, I get it why Ewing, you know, being the player that he was and the emotional ties to the Knicks. I guess I can understand why, like, he would be surprised that, like, the security guards are asking for his badge and his pass. But, okay, at the end of the day, everything he described there are the security guards doing their job. I mean, what exactly did you, like, he's not complaining about, like, you know, getting profiled or like he's chuckling, right? So this is like he's only like maybe 10% serious. Like he's chuckling. Oh, I got to talk to Mr. Dolan, you know. So it's not as if like anything egregious is getting done to him there. All he's describing are security guards in one of the most famous arenas on planet Earth are doing their jobs, because you've got to ask to see people's credentials and their passes when they're wandering around the bowels of the arena. In fact, you know what? If I were a New York City resident and I'm hearing stories about security guards just letting anyone, I don't care if it's Patrick Ewing or Phil Jackson or anybody, Allen Houston, you know, I don't, if I were a New York resident and I'm hearing stories about MSG security letting anybody walk around without getting their badge checked or going through security, I'm going to be pretty alarmed by that, right? Because the security guards are doing a job to keep people safe and making sure everyone back there is supposed to be back there. And the other point, I heard Orlando Alzagari talk about this, and this jumped out at me as well. When was the last time Ewing actually suited up for the New York Knicks? Very early 2000s?
21 years ago.
21 years ago.
1999.
Oh, there you go. So it wasn't even into 2000. So the last time Patrick Ewing suited up for the Knicks was 21 years ago. Can't you forgive maybe some of those security guards who might be 25, 30 years old themselves, might not even be sports fans, some of them. Believe it or not, there are human beings on this planet who may not recognize Pat Ewing. My wife probably wouldn't recognize Udonis Haslem. She saw him walking down the street. I didn't say Dwayne Wade because I think my wife would recognize Dwayne Wade because he's such a celebrity. But if my wife saw Udonis Haslem walking down the street, she would have no clue who he was. She'd probably know he was somebody because have you noticed that anytime a human being is like over 6'5", they're probably famous. Have you noticed? It's a weird thing. Like if you're over 6'5", you're probably an actor. You're probably a professional athlete or maybe like a former college athlete. Tall people are usually somebody. Like when you see an unusually tall person, they usually have more impact on society than being like an accountant or something. A tall person is usually a celebrity of some kind. Like if you encounter an unusually tall person, the instinct is that's probably someone I should know. But like I don't think my wife would recognize Udonis. She certainly wouldn't recognize Patrick Ewing. So hey, maybe some of the security guards at Madison Square Garden, they're trying to earn an honest living. They're trying to make a living wage. Provide for themselves or their families. Maybe they didn't grow up watching the lame-ass New York Knicks their entire lives. In fact, they probably spared themselves a lot of punishment over the years. So maybe they don't recognize Ewing. I don't think it's that odd. Maybe if he played like 2 years ago, but you may not recognize him. So I'm looking through this. Jason LaConfora from CBS Sports wrote a piece, NFL 2021 free agency, 13 perfect player team matches. And I'm looking to see, okay, what does he have for the Miami Dolphins? Nothing. Blatant disrespect. He matches up Kenny Golladay with Washington football team. He matches up guard Joe Thuney with the Jaguars. That actually is a really good fit. He matches up Hunter Henry with the Chargers, so re-signing with the Chargers then. He thinks that's the perfect fit. He matches up tight end Jonnu Smith with the Bills. Shaq Barrett staying with the Buccaneers. He matches up guard Kevin Zeitler with the Ravens. Outside linebacker Matt Judon with the Jets. Outside linebacker Melvin Ingram with the Ravens. Defensive end Carl Lawson with the Seahawks. Left tackle Trent Williams with the 49ers. Defensive end Yannick Ngakoue with the Raiders. Richard Sherman, he matches up with the Raiders. Bud Dupree with the Browns. And there's nothing. I would have thought we would have gotten Aaron Jones Dolphins. What a missed opportunity. 13 perfect free agent matches from Jason LaConfora. I'm canceling LaConfora. Cancel culture. I'm no longer going to take this man's work seriously. No love at all for the Miami Dolphins from LaConfora. 844-416-8123 is how you reach us. That's 844-416-8123. Oh, I like this. I was talking earlier about my no Manny Diaz slander policy. I will not allow any Manny Diaz slander on the show until the season starts again because he's doing really well in the offseason. There's no reason to slander him right now. It's just an agenda. Anyone who slanders Manny Diaz right now has an agenda. I'm going to say that. A texter writes in, I stand with Manny. He's doing great things for our Canes. Great show. Awesome to hear all the Canes talk. I appreciate you listening. I really do. When we come back, we're going to bring in our good pal Michael Christian for the crossover. Oh, our guy Tony 2 times was writing in some soccer stuff on the chat. I like that. I think this is going back to the Cristiano Ronaldo thing, especially from the French league. Talking about Ronaldo and Juventus going out to Lyon last year. They only have 2 to 3 teams that are quote-unquote good and usually are looking at PSG on top of the table. You have to beat Lyon, and he couldn't beat Lyon last year. All right, we're going to bring in Michael Christian for some crosstalk. Weeknight 6 to 7. Catch Game Night with Michael Christian. Listen to the show that provides the smorgasbord that gamers love and sports fans desire. From breaking sports news to the latest in gaming culture, catch Game Night with Michael Christian from 6 to 7 p.m. exclusively at OnSideRadio.com.
The man of the match with South Florida's own Alex Donno. Weekdays 1 to 5 p.m. on the home for Inter Miami football. OnSideRadio.com.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can STEM, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can STEM, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
Ashiro's work is never done. You care for the house, the kids, and our future. We're so grateful for all you do. Now, it's time to care for yourself and save a little more for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to boost your retirement savings now. Visit aceyourretirement.org today.
A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Parents, we know we can't protect our kids from everything. Eventually, they're going to bump their heads or scrape their knees. But we can protect them from 6 types of cancer. HPV, or human papillomavirus, is a common, preventable virus that can cause cancer later in life. The HPV vaccine prevents human papillomavirus and all the cancers it can cause. The American Cancer Society recommends getting your sons and daughters the HPV vaccine starting at age 9 to protect them later in life.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
You're listening to OnSideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnSideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnSideRadio.com, broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Everyone getting ready for the weekend. The weekend officially starts at 7 o'clock when Michael Christian signs off after game night. I really enjoy Michael's show. He joins us here for some crosstalk. Michael, the Foodie Friday topic for today, and this is nostalgic because I've not been to a movie theater now in over a year, but I love me some movie snacks. What are some of your favorite movie theater snacks?
Bunch of Crunch has to be high on that list.
Yes, so good.
You can't, like for sweets, Bunch of Crunch is really high up there. I go to AMC a lot, and they have these like little pretzel bites. That they put some cinnamon sugar on there with some icing on the side. Ooh. That's a go-to for me. And obviously a hot dog. Popcorn I'm not super high on.
A hot dog in a movie theater. Yeah. That's a little odd.
Oh, have you not had that?
No, not in a movie theater. I associate that with like a baseball game.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, hold on. If you go to a baseball game and don't have a hot dog, you didn't go to a baseball game.
Fair.
That's just a fact.
Yeah.
But yeah, AMC has some pretty decent hot dogs, and it's just, to me, it feels a little bit more substance-y than, like just popcorn. So yeah, you get me a hot dog with some Bunch of Crunch, I'm good.
Now I got to get a ruling on one from you because I brought this up and Tito trashed me. Like he threatened to call the FBI and like have me forcibly removed from the studio. Like he wanted to get me on like FBI most wanted list for this. And then he tweeted about it, and I'm actually getting a lot of support from people on Twitter, much to Tito's dismay. He really made fun of me hard, Michael, for actually enjoying Raisinets. Do you have any opinion on Raisinets?
If you hear a knock on the door just now, it is the FBI coming to get you because Raisinets are disgusting. You are a sick man, and I side 100% with Tito.
A few years ago, I said something similar to that, and then, in fact, this came up on a show that I was doing like 4 years ago. Up Raisinets, and I was trashing them, much like you just did. And then I had a few listeners like begging me, anyone who trashes Raisinets probably hasn't had them or had them recently. And so I went out of my way a couple years ago to try some Raisinets, and I was blown away. I'm not a big fan of raisins, but there's something about chocolate-covered raisins that just works. I'm telling you.
Why
Try
don't you just
one
bring in
and
a bag of like dates or something weird like that. Donno, come on, man. Listen, the respect for you I had was just building, and I feel like we've reached this cliff, and I'm about ready to jump off, man. My goodness. I wish Tito was in here too to just back me up on this, because that's all. horrible take, man.
If he's listening right now, he's fist pumping. Like, he's so happy to hear you say this. Oh, my God. Oh, man. Hey, so we got a couple of dubs last night. Panthers win, Heat win. Jimmy Butler was awesome. He'd have a back-to-back. Do you think they repeat? They're 2-point favorites against the Bulls. I actually think the Heat are going to win this game a little bit more comfortably than by 2 points. What do you think?
I think the Heat will win more comfortably than 2 points, but I do think it's going to be a close game throughout. I just don't think they've shown you anything this season when Bam isn't playing and Jimmy is that shows you they're going to pull away from other teams, and maybe they do. I think they're going to win maybe by like 6 or 7, but it'll be a close game throughout, which doesn't make us all too happy. But, hey, I'll take a win. It's better than the losses we saw in the first half, right?
That is very, very true, and they're actually over 500 for the first time this year. What do you have planned on?
Only took 37 games, but they finally made it, right? Like,
yep, and listen, I hope they don't turn back from here. What do you have planned for game night tonight?
Oh, we're going to talk some Miami Heat. I want to dive into, tonight's matchup against the Bulls as well as last night's game against the Magic. Then I want to talk about the Miami Dolphins. A lot of people are starting to predict players coming to the Dolphins, and it's really cool to see what other people think. And in the last segment, I want to talk about gaming culture because it's getting a lot of flack thanks to one disgusting person who was let go by the Heat, who I've decided I will not say his name anymore. But gaming culture is kind of getting a bad rap because of that, and they're blaming, it's these games, it's that community, and that's not what it is. So I'm going to step in, kind of defend it a little bit, say, we're better than that. That's just one person.
No, and you're right, and I'm looking forward to hearing that, and I'm glad you're going to go public with that take because it is completely unfair for people to judge a community based on a bad apple, and I'm not going to say the name either of who you're talking about. Of course, we all know who that is. Have a great show, Michael.
Appreciate it. Go enjoy some hot Raisinets in the car or whatever it is you like, Donno.
Hot Raisinets. I mean, I prefer them room temperature, okay? But good stuff. Huge thank you to Alex Aguirre. Always doing great work. Tito Bonach for you and awesome work. Everybody who joined us today. Lee Sterling, lock in his bets. If you missed it, check him out on our podcast. Omar Kelly, Jameson Olive, Frank Crivello, and, of course, Michael Christian is coming up. Hey, start your morning every day at 8 a.m. with 4th and 20 with Toast and Marsh. The boys cover all the local sports stories while providing some great Miami Hurricanes insight. So download, subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. 4th and 20, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. only at OnsideRadio.com.
Now streaming online. Onside Radio, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. This is the official home of Inter Miami CF.
Higuain will now take. His strike is a decent one. It's fired into the top right corner. Gonzalo Higuain opens his account for Inter Miami.
OnsideRadio.com. Follow us on social media at Onside Radio.
Hey, it's Big O for EJD Construction, your custom home builder, additions and home remodeling. Our lives have changed. We're making our homes more of an oasis. Call the right place. Call the right people. Eric at EJD Construction for over 16 years. A-rated member of Angie's List in the Better Business Bureau. 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
We live in challenging times, and we understand you have questions about how you're going to take care of your family and yourself. Well, you can trust the Publix is doing everything possible to help. Our stores continue to be open. We're busy restocking as quickly as we can. But please remember to think of others as you shop for the week ahead. This will give your friends and neighbors the opportunity to get what they need as well. Our supply chains are strong, deliveries are being made throughout the day, and our